Hello again, everyone. How are you all? Hope everyone's well. And if you hadn't noticed then, I put the outro in at the beginning just to mix it up a little bit. I completely cocked that up. I put them in the wrong order.
50-50.
Well, you know, I've got to start and do something wrong to begin with. So the intro being completely wrong is a good way to start.
Yeah.
So, hello, everyone. How are you all? How's everyone today?
Not bad.
Tired. Late one last night because of the swap shop, of course. I managed to sell probably the most I've ever sold in an episode after starting a lot of people off on their 8-bit addiction. I can now feed them games from the swap shop. So...
swap shop is getting people addicted to the 8-bit micros, isn't it? The thing is, Paul, you've got to start them off with the cheap ones, then slip in the really expensive ones.
I don't know if you noticed that North and South went in on the Amiga, just slyly went in.
Yeah.
So, yes, if it feels like we have been away for a long time, it's because we've actually been away for 2 months, guys. Can you actually believe that the last time we were actually live? Yeah, it's down to Paul. But the last time we were live was at Sega Zombie's place.
Yeah,
so what a weekend that was, eh?
Yes.
I can't believe that was
ages
the last
ago.
time. It does. It feels like a long time ago.
Yeah.
So I have to ask though, Retro Chef, have your legs recovered from sitting on the floor for that whole stream?
I'll tell you something, mate. I've got this. I'm actually going to put. I've spoke to my solicitor. Letters will be sent to Proctor. I've actually got some sort of gammy left foot. The sole of my foot fucked. It's a technical term. Fucked, and it is fucked.
Yes.
No, all good. Right, yeah, even though I'm a bit chubby, my arse did not help me out on that floor. So it didn't work at all.
It was a good one though. It really was, and an amazing weekend. I just
Weekend.
can't believe that it's been that long. Right, well tonight we've got a whole load of new questions, and we do have another guest tonight. It was supposed to be Jim Bagley, but unfortunately, life sometimes happens and things get in the way. He will be back in the future. But tonight we actually have the guest that Paul let down because he wanted the weekend off.
That's why I was like, can we please get him on? Can we please get him on?
And we have Knots Gamer.
Good evening. Hello.
How are you doing, mate?
How are you?
Can I just say something? Apparently, I was just watching BBC before I come in. Jim Baggers is on the terrace at England tonight at Wembley, so that's why he fucked us over for.
I thought you were going to say he's on another stream.
Yeah, that's stupid. He won't be on any other fucking stream. He's at Wembley tonight. He's walking the ball on the pitch. Yeah. So
yes, Rob, thank you so much for stepping in, and apologise for last time. I mean, we've done a Red Dwarf stream as well together, and honestly, absolute right laugh, and it's a pleasure to have you here tonight. It really is.
Thank you.
Right, I'm going to quickly go down the comments now, see who we got on, and I'm going to say now, I am dyslexic, so if I ask any of these guys to read out the comments, that is why. It's because I don't want to make a tit of myself more than I normally do.
Did you say you're sexy? Because if you did say that, I agree.
Let me mute him.
No, because I just thought I heard something like that. Sorry, my bad.
Right, so we got Martin the Hobby Lodge, how you doing? We got Retro Skelly.
Last night.
Well, them two, their postman's can be well.
Duncan, how you doing, mate? What posters was that? I apologise, Lee, because I did actually fall asleep about 8:30, 9 o'clock yesterday, so I missed Swap Shop.
That's okay.
Gardino plays.
Gardino's here, lovely jubbly.
Bahaha.
I've just been watching Rob's stream before this.
Yeah.
Stephen Medley.
Paul, was it not school night?
And we have Marathon Gaming. How you
Because
doing,
I've
mate?
been on call for a week, I'm like, I'm just gonna have half a bottle.
Just half a bottle.
But to be honest, we all know how that's going to end up.
You have never drank half a bottle of wine in your life, have you?
I have, but I just always drink the second half straight after.
Love it.
Sorry, this is what wine
going to
does.
be in.
It makes me, I don't know.
We're going to be in Blackpool next week. Do you think they're going to stitch you up again at the bar and tell you there's only a pint glass?
Yes.
Yeah, undoubtedly, isn't it?
Yeah, could happen. It's tradition now. It's tradition.
It's tradition. Tom Obi-Wan.
Nice.
How you doing?
Nice name.
Yeah. Going down here. Oh, hey, we've got Retro Robin. How you doing, mate? Nice to see you. LKG. And brace yourself now, because we have Rach. This is where Paul, starts flirting.
Hey, Raish.
Who, me? Did you see? I
No,
wouldn't
not
get me. Get me into trouble.
She's watching it. Cyber Snake.
Hey, Jay. Nice.
Okay.
Definitely one of size subscribers. That one. There's ginger pubes in it, marmalade. See what they done there?
There's a lot of people here that I genuinely don't know. But yeah, it's nice to see new people come to the channel.
Of course.
Right then. So we're going to now get on to the questions. I'm going to quickly go around the questions and then we'll start answering them. We'll just go around the room as we normally do. One thing I really like about this is how long has it been since we've actually done like a normal stream like this where it's just the questions and the debate and everything else? Because it's been a while, hasn't it?
Sorry,
Yeah.
no stream is normal with us five.
I was going to say normal.
Including Bob. There's no normal stream with us involved because Lee don't stop talking straight away. So we've got a problem.
Seriously?
That's normally me.
I've got to talk the least and I out of everyone in here.
That's enough. Come on, that's enough of you. There.
Sorry.
So here we have Retro Chef's question tonight is 80s and 90s cartoons. What was the best and what was the worst?
Yep.
We have, this is Not Gamer's question. Where did gaming start for you?
Nice.
Do you think gaming's going the same way as Hollywood with reboots and remasters? That is Nerdy Geezers.
Good question.
And then, have you ever lost your passion for making content and how do you get over it? That is Paul's. And this one, I may slip this one in the middle or save it till last, but e-begging and Patreon. What are your thoughts?
Nice.
So, we are going to start with Paul because he's not looking at the camera.
I know. I'm just. I'll tell you about it after.
Hang on, I've got a question for Paul. Before you start, have you got an emergency pie?
No.
2 days in a row.
That's what he's doing. He's ordering a pie, isn't he? That's what he's doing.
Nothing
I know.
from
Well,
yesterday.
because someone reminded me about it last night, I went and ate it after the stream, so I didn't have it for tonight. And annoyingly, me bank card's gone missing, which cancels your Apple Pay, so I wasn't able to buy anything all day today, and I'm hoping that my cash card comes in time, because if it doesn't come by Thursday, it means I won't have any way of paying for anything all weekend that I'm in Blackpool, which is going to be a nightmare.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Not
so
good.
yeah, there's a story behind that.
Back to the old selling your arsehole then, Paul,
We go.
for the weekend.
So, is that a 2-0 down on the football already?
No,
Or is that just a wind-up?
no, it's not. It can't, I'll check. It can't. If it is, I'll tell you now. I'll smash the shit out of his laptop. Where are we? Sorry,
To be
boys.
fair, that's something Scott normally does, isn't it, when it comes to football?
Yeah, football
Yeah.
and TV.
So, it's 21 minutes in and it's 0-0.
Okay.
It's only when Ipswich are playing Sunderland.
Yeah.
I wonder if
Leeds,
e-begging
isn't
comes up and the convo. Yes, it will.
It's got to come up, innit?
It's got to come up. It's got to. We got to stay topical, haven't we? So, Paul, we're at your question. So, take it away.
So yeah, this happened to me recently. It kind of made me realise that, like, I am goal driven, and like a lot of people, the closer I got to 1,000 subs, the more I wanted it. It was like I don't really know how to explain it. It's like it's an addiction, I suppose. Is probably the best way to put it. You know, I was so driven that when I got to 1,000, and then it started going past, like I didn't have like any more like real targets. And then you've got like the watch time, so that came into it. So you know that kind of like drove us on to get the 4,000. Is it 4,000 or 400?
4,000.
4,000 watch hours. Is it 4,000 or 400? Oh, I can't remember.
400.
No, it's 4,000 watch hours.
Yeah.
4 million.
Whatever. Anyway, normally sevens I have a problem with, not fours. But anyway, so I always had that like target, that drive, and once I hit that, I definitely felt like I went through a lull where, like, there was other things happening. It come to summer, and I was spending more time with the kids and that, and the family. But I just found it really difficult to kind of get like the enthusiasm to make a video. And I like to be enthusiastic on my videos. I don't like to be someone who just like, you know, FIFA 97. Do you know what I mean? I might have been at the start, but like I've tried to become more me. Like, this is who I am. And I just didn't have that like enthusiasm for YouTube whatsoever, and it's definitely took a while to like. I feel now I'm back to where I was before, where I'm not bothered about numbers and stuff like, like I've got the same motivation, but without that. But it just took a while. Like I had to take a bit of a step back and maybe done like one video a month for a little bit, and the quiz completely stopped. So yeah, I was just wondering if anyone else has had the same like the same thoughts as that, or not due to the reasons, but just like lost the enthusiasm and then got it back. Like, what did you do to get it back? Because I think it might be important to hear the answers for other people who might be at that stage, and it might help them as well.
That is a great question, Paul. So let's go over to Retro Chef. We'll just keep going around the room. That way we don't miss anybody out. So, Chef, what do you think?
Hi, Si.
I'm letting you talk.
Hello, mate. Hello, mate.
Does it just feel weird you're not actually being in charge of the stream?
I'm always in charge, even though I'm not in charge now. I'm in charge. Well, as the longest serving tuber in this little panel tonight, I don't know if I've told you guys, but this November is 10 years on YouTube for me. Now, I am the best example of someone who does it when they want to do it, when it comes to YouTube. We've had many discussions in many WhatsApp groups about longevity, about what to do, what not to do. And I always find, for me personally, to do it when I want to do it. Because I always say this, YouTube doesn't pay my mortgage. Therefore, I will make it work around me. Yes. I am lazy. So when I'm lazy, in the fact of that, I could do more, but I tend to be doing other stuff, whether I'm playing games or doing other bits and pieces. It kind of takes a bit of a backseat to me. 10 years with an 8-year break. Yeah, that's right, Gerdaldino. That's right. So, but that's how I see it. I don't think I've got dry spells. I just think for me, I just pick up when I want to pick it up. And I've always been like that. And I know it frustrates people because I think people would probably like to see a little bit more of my content because, I have a laugh and stuff and I say...
Well, even if you've done a couple of videos a year, that'd be all right.
Well, I knew you was going to fucking say something, innit? No, but listen, I've done 2 shorts on Saturday.
Just imagine if you'd done a channel update, Lee.
To be fair, I must have gone first here.
I'll tell you something. If I do a channel update, it'd be a 10-hour one. It'd be all-nighter. It'd be like a live podcast.
It'd be like the Lord of the Rings trilogy, wouldn't it?
It'd be shocking. I'm what I've got out of YouTube. I've met the people I want to meet. I'm nearly at 1,000 subs, which is just a little milestone in my head. And once I've got that, I'll probably close my channel down and leave all you fuckers alone. But at the same time, I just do it around me. And I think for me, that works the best because I've got no pressure. The only pressure I've got is Swap Shop, really, or Retro 5. If that's not even a pressure, so I shouldn't even say that. I love doing Swap Shop and I love doing the Retro 5 because I'm always amongst people like-minded and I get to meet new people, so I always find it great.
That's always good.
That's me, mate.
Wouldn't you like to reach that 1,000 subs though? I mean, you are awfully close though, aren't you?
I would love to get to the 1,000 subs, but at the same time, it get there when I get there because I think I'm not really doing enough to warrant there at the second. I think so. Let's see. We'll see what happens in it. We'll see what happens.
Absolutely. That's nice, Willie.
Thanks, mate.
Rob.
Well, to be fair, I just make it when I feel I'm ready to make a piece of content. The only time I really feel any pressure is when I apply it on myself. If I've been working on a video, sometimes I get lost in the edits, mate, and I can be doing a video for 2 or 3 weeks, and I pressure myself to finish it instead of just doing what you enjoy and getting it out. Because most of the time I don't plan out, like, make loads of videos. I've got to do X, Y, Z a week. When something grabs you think, I've got to make a bit of content about that. And yeah, I mean, the only lull I ever had really is when I first started YouTube. I did a lot of Fantasy Star Online 2 stuff. I thought it was really great and popular at the time. And it didn't get the views I thought it would. And it kind of puts you off. And I kind of felt like I was going in the wrong direction at the time, and it did. I had a lull for a bit there, and then just sort of came back to it with something completely different. Because The worst thing you can do, if you put a bit of content out and it doesn't do as well as you thought it was, whether you like it or not, it's not going to work for you on your channel if people aren't watching it. So you have to, what I find is just put out loads of different types until you find what people want to see you do. But you've got to enjoy what you're doing at the same time. You can't force yourself to make something bad just because it's popular. Do you the whole time, and you'll find your own content. And that's what I did. There's so much stuff I don't do anymore just because it wasn't right for what I wanted. It wasn't right for YouTube really. But always stick with what you want to do. Never feel like you're forced into making a video just because that's what everyone else is making a video about, if you know what I mean. Because you end up pressuring yourself into doing silly things.
I have to ask though, with because you do a lot of editing, Rob, don't you?
Yeah.
Have you ever spent a long time editing a video and it's not done as well as you thought it had, but then rushed one out and it's done a lot better than you ever thought it would?
Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
Really short I've just done. That was just, that's me taking out the box. That's on nearly 4,000 views already. It's probably my best video, that one. But I did a review on, was it the Turrican collection on the Nintendo Switch? Really, really in depth because I love that franchise and I gave it my all. And that video didn't perform very well at all. But for me, that's probably one of my best pieces of work. But I didn't carry on with that because I know it wasn't going to help me out. So you sort of learn a few things from that and apply them to your next video. Just don't let poor views get you down. It just means people haven't found you yet, or YouTube hasn't decided who should be seeing your stuff yet. But it's low views that put me off a lot in the beginning. And you just sort of blinker it out. Do your hobby. Have fun with it. Don't feel the pressure because you can pressure yourself. You don't need any external, if you see what I mean. So yeah, the best thing to do is just get on with what works for you. You'll eventually find it, and trust me, I've had a lot of failures along the way. So,
I think a lot of us here have had failures along the way, though, haven't we?
We all will. It's all part of YouTube, isn't it? It's all part of finding who you are, finding your feet, and finding the people that appreciate you for what you do. And the longer you stick at it, the more YouTube will put you in touch with those people as it sees what you create. But yeah, just don't get beat up when you do a bad video. That's what I did, and I disappeared for a while. Just don't let it get you down. Don't let it get you down.
Well said, Rob.
Yeah, well said. Scott, what do you think?
Yeah, it's kind of... funnily enough, the same as Chef. November means... I think it's November. It might be October. I've been on YouTube for 6 years doing content.
Nice.
And definitely, I've had lots of struggles along the way. I think with me, I've always got loads of ideas, loads of passion, loads of stuff I want to share. But sometimes you've got to balance your hobby, your life, and what you want to put out there. And that's a very, very thin line to travel, because I know when I hosted YouTuber of the Year, now, even though that's only one video a month, I felt the pressure because I knew I had to do that video. And in the very first few months of doing YouTuber of the Month, I had lots of passion for it. Now, I'm someone that I'll only ever do a video if I want to do that video. If I've got a passion for it, I want to do it, it gives me that buzz. See, with me, I can go a couple of weeks, 3 weeks without making a video. As soon as something I pick up, or a game I'm playing, or something I'm interested in, all of a sudden something clicks and I'm like, I've got to do a video on this. And with YouTuber of the Month, unfortunately, I wasn't getting that. And it was very hard because I like to think everyone thinks that knows that they're seeing me. This is how I am. And with YouTuber of the Month, I felt I was kind of not being me, if that makes sense. So for me, YouTube's always been about an extension of my hobby, an extension of my collection, the games I'm playing. So if there's a time in my life I'm not playing many games, or I've not bought anything in, or, there's a lull, you'll see that lull in my YouTube content. I think that's sort of like where I am with me. With numbers, it's only been recently, really, in the last
I was going to say
year
it was, wasn't
it? Where I've even thought about numbers. I think it was very different when I started YouTube, because some of you guys started sort of around the lockdown sort of time.
I think me, Paul, and Nerdy Geezer are all locked down. I'm not sure about you, Rob. Did you start
back
lockdown?
to it at lockdown?
Well, we were
I made
both nominated by
content
Lee.
years ago as a teenager, but I did nothing for about 10 years
Yeah.
after that.
So you and Lee are old school.
Yeah. See, I can remember the reason why I thought I'll get into YouTube is I was watching lots of UK tubers. I've been on YouTube for a long, long time, but a lot of the UK guys were starting to not do content. Chef was one of them. Yeah,
Nothing unusual, mate.
I used to watch a lot of Gruss Newton. So many tubers. Some of them had never come back, and it was sort of like a time of a new wave of UK tubers were coming around. There was me, there was Mr. Bads, there was Dave Birdsall. There was quite a few of us that all sort of started at a similar sort of time. And it was fresh, and my videos were doing very well. Just me, just turning on the camera and just talking like I am now. And they were doing exceptionally well. I think YouTube's very different platform now.
Yeah.
And you feel the pressures more when your video, whatever your target is in your head of what views you want for your video, if you don't hit them, you kind of feel the pressure a bit more than you
do, don't you?
Yeah.
The algorithms changing are really annoying as well, though, won't they? Because people chase these algorithms, and every so often they just completely change the rules of what they are. So
yeah,
That's a nice comment.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Oh, fuck Alex.
Lovely guy.
I love Alex.
Alex is going to be in Blackpool as well, isn't he? So I'm absolutely looking forward to that. It's going to be
quite tall,
a
actually,
couple of
as well,
days
isn't
away. And Rob, you're going to be in Blackpool,
Yeah,
aren't you?
it's going to be so good this weekend.
Can I just say
Looking
something?
forward to it.
What
Yeah,
Scott
same.
just said. I just want to say something what Scott did. I just want to say, Scott, I love your channel dearly, and you mean a lot to me. And I really enjoy your off the cuff videos. I enjoy your I do enjoy your videos when you put your mind to it. But when you just do a live, I just think they're cool. I just think you come across so well. And I loved YouTuber of the Month, and obviously I was part of that for a little bit of time, which was awesome because it was good that I had a friend like you. I never forget the phone call with you. So, I really enjoy your stuff, and still to this day, along with the other guys as well. But off the cuff stuff from you is awesome.
I try and keep everything I do off the cuff. Off the cuff. That's why, sort of like with my channel, you'll never get any routine. Like I don't do a Sega video every Monday and a Spectrum video every Friday. Or whatever.
I've tried to do that. That's the worst thing in the world, trying to stick to a routine, because you start hating yourself for missing one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you really get that pressure. I mean, I know that they say that's what you got to do to keep a routine and keep people coming back, but it stops it being fun.
Plus, real life comes first.
Also, sort of like when you think, well, why is he putting a Philips CDI video out this week? And then last week he put out an Amstrad or an Atari one.
That's why I like
what I'm playing.
Yeah,
if I'm playing something and getting right into it, I'm going to do a video on this. I don't care if I've done 3 Mega Drive videos in a row and then I chuck in a Spectrum one.
Yeah.
It's just how I am.
And that's why I like it.
Yeah.
Do what you feel like doing.
Yeah. Right, Nerdy Geezer, what do you think about this? Because your channel started off with some real big hitter videos, didn't it? Right at the beginning, I've noticed.
Yeah, it did, but I think I'd done them at the wrong time. I mean, a lot of the stuff I did to start with, I should have really done when I had a following, if you like. I think some of that stuff could have done much better, if you know what I mean. I mean, I did have one successful video at the start that really took off, but that was because it was bashing someone who
that always gets the views.
Yeah, it was putting out fake Star Wars news. So, and it was one of the first videos I wanted to do because the guy irritated me. So, that one seemed to get the most views. So, in terms of burnout, I've had it a few times because when I come into YouTube, I was quite naive to it. It was really Connor's idea when we was in lockdown. It was something to do, and he'd been going on at me for a couple of years saying, "Dad, we should do YouTube." And I'd watched YouTube but never thought of doing it. And I think what caused the first burnout was because I'd been watching these like really successful channels. They all do a video every day, didn't they? So I naturally assumed that's what you do. So to start with, I was pumping out all these videos, and as a result, I started to burn out because not only was I running out of ideas, but also I was getting fed up with keep doing videos, So The other times, obviously, like when Connor's on summer holidays, like the games corner is in Connor's room, so I can't get in here. It's harder to do content. But at the same time, what's good about it is because I can't really do much for 6 weeks, I get loads of ideas. So then I can come back and I've got all new ideas to do stuff. So I think my biggest bit of advice for anybody who gets burnout is to just take time out and play some games.
Exactly. That is the best bit of advice. That is play some games. Don't worry about it. And that video will come. Yeah.
Well, it's funny you should say that, Lee, because I wasn't making content, I had more time to play games. And I started playing more games and I was like, I really want to make a video because I really got into the Amiga Mini because that come out, and that's part of the reason why I didn't make as much videos. And
the
the Amiga Mini, and I was like, I need to make a video on my favorite. I'm going to make a video on my 10
This
favorite.
is it. The content comes,
and then
doesn't
that's
it?
where it started.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
you
best
ideas come when you're gaming. Every time.
Yeah, totally.
Is that it, Lee?
Yeah, that's me.
Well, for me, I do genuinely think that a couple of times I've completely burnt out and just thought, why am I bothering doing this and everything else? And as you guys have said already, it's if you are just sitting there and playing the games, that's where you get a lot more of your ideas and everything else. And that's pretty much how the idea came across with me recording games where you just see my hands. Because the majority of the time, I am just playing that game and think, this is quite cool, somebody might like to see this. Or just recording a bit of gameplay where I'm really failing at a game. People love seeing you fail at games. There's just something everyone really loves, to see you not do well on a game, and that didn't seem to do well. But yeah, with the whole numbers thing, numbers and everything never bothered me until you get close to them. And then you start, I can get to the 1,000. Then you start thinking about YouTube in a very different way. I've just gone past the 4,000 watch hours myself a couple of days ago, and I found myself watching it go up and go down, watching it go up and go down. Now that it's gone up and over, I haven't looked at it once, and that's just gone. It's finished. So now I can just enjoy doing the videos.
Are you not looking for another target? Like
at the moment, no, I'm not. No,
you see, I did, and I thought about it long and hard, and in the end, I had to let go.
Yeah, I think that sometimes you do need to let go, if you know what I mean. But do you know the one thing that always got me though? Because I used to had to set everything up, so you had to set up the camera, had to set up the lights and everything else, and then thinking I've got to do all this. It's like by the time I thought about it and done it, I thought, well, I can't be bothered. You know what I mean? That's why sometimes I love literally just pointing the camera at the screen and record what I'm playing at the time. And I think that you get the best videos that way. Because you're getting your genuine reaction. You're not trying to force it or anything else like that. So,
and of course, we're all hoping for the failure just so we can have a good laugh. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
When you hear the frustration, building and building. It's
how many of you can play a game and be playing it really well until the second you try and record it on a video and you fail?
Yeah, every time.
Happens to me all the time. Yeah.
I was playing Berserk
these
the
videos
other day.
make a million takes.
I play shite all the time. Yeah, I'm glad.
But it's like you can make the jump 100 times. The second the camera goes on, you miss. Then you miss again, and you get into your own head and everything else. But yeah, burnout is definitely very real. I think the best thing is not to beat yourself up over it, because everyone goes up and down. You haven't got to put the content out, and if you force it, people can tell.
Yeah.
It does tick in your head, like you think, oh, that's a week now. Or for me, and that was like, oh, that's 2 weeks. Oh, that's 3 weeks now. I really should do something. Do you know what I mean? I'll do a show.
I definitely get
what
that.
I mean?
I kind of feel bad. I kind of feel like, well, I've not done a video in 3 weeks. What the hell?
The fans. What are the fans going to do?
No, did you ever say
to
that
let
though?
you know,
Patreon.
just to let you know, you've got lots of content on your channel, so that they can be spoiled with older videos.
My God, don't watch it. I always go back to my first video and I watch it again.
We've seen your first one,
just
Paul.
to see how bad it is. And I do that quite a lot. I think that was a little bit of incentive as well. I did watch a few older videos.
Oh, go and watch my first video when I'm in front of the camera. Jade takes the piss out of me constantly. I tell you, I am something else.
Do you know what? I'm just thinking about that. We should do it when we all re-upload our first ever video, just to see.
Mine's awful. I'm not doing that.
Exactly, it's going to be awful.
Would you ever delete it? I would never delete mine.
No. It's nice to know where you came from, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
YouTube to me is like it's a visual diary. It's documenting your journey in your hobby and your collecting. And there's been, when I go back to some of my videos, I think, wow, my collection used to look like that. I used to collect for this, and I love going back. I wish that I started YouTube when I first started collecting. That's one of my big regrets, because I had people like Pete, Armour, the guys I set up some of the Facebook groups with. They were like, Scott, do YouTube, and I was like, nah. I said for years. It took me a long time to pluck up that courage and go and do it. And that's one of my regrets, really, because I'd have loved to have documented the Mega Drive collection right at the start. Do you know what I mean? That would have been awesome.
I'm the same. Like, I didn't start my channel until after I'd finished my Hit Squad Commodore 64 collection.
Yeah, it's really odd that you finished that.
The games and started playing all the games because, and then I think that's why, because I was so inspired by other people collecting them, and then I got a Spectrum, and I was like, oh, play these games. So that collection started, and then the Amstrad, and so it's quite infectious.
It is. It is. Right, guys, that's some amazing answers to that, and it's nice to know that you all think the same, but in very different ways, if you get what I mean. If that makes sense.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Nothing ever makes sense of what I say, so, you have to just deal with that. Right, we're going to move over now to Retro Chef, and now I should just go away for half an hour whilst he talks about his favourites. 80s and 90s cartoons, what's your favourite and what's your worst? I'll make you big screen, Lee, so you can show us some of yours.
Oh, wasn't ready for that.
I'll have to put you back.
Sorry. Hello. So basically,
welcome to Swap Shop.
Welcome to the Swap Shop, live from God's. Oh no, not live from Dudley. Not bankers. 80s, 90s cartoons, best and worst. Now, I'm only going to show you some of the better ones. I've got quite a few movies. I've got some anime, some manga. I've got a few just to show, just to kind of get people talking in the chat, and obviously the guys.
Whilst you're showing these off, if anyone is in the chat now and has got any favourite cartoons or worst cartoons, let us know in the comments down below, and we'll discuss it on the panel.
Yeah. So I've got probably one of my favourites is Transformers the movie. This is the actual 30th year anniversary Blu-ray. I've got the 35th year. Sorry, was there a question?
Yeah, I was going to say, is that a still book, that one you just showed?
It is indeed, sir. It's a still book.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, but Transformers is a bit crap, though, isn't it?
I'm just going to carry on with the conversation. That's the 35-year anniversary edition. Same movie, no difference as the fucking other one. Got a 90s movie, a Ninja Scroll, probably one of my favourite.
Don't think I've ever seen that.
That's a brilliant film.
Let me tell you that this film is proper. It's got everything.
Jubei is a badass, mate.
Jubei Kibagami is wicked. And when I saw they were making a number 2 in 2005, the trailer is on YouTube. The trailer is epic, but they never finished it, which is a shame. The same story editor, producer, and animators also did Cyber City Oedo 808, which is my favourite anime of all time.
I don't think I've ever seen that one.
Oh, Scott, this is proper cyberpunk. This person here is called Benton. It's actually a male, but they're androgynous. But it's awesome. This is a really cool. This now fetched decent money. This is now the Blu-ray that's been upscaled, HD'd, or whatever you want to say. The actual same director, producer, all that of Ninja Scroll, Cyber City, also made Wicked City. And
I was wondering if you was going to show that.
Yeah.
Dude, you got all my favourite mangas up so far.
Great film, Wicked City.
Wicked City. So we in the UK we got Monster City and Wicked City. We didn't get Demon City, but it's the same film anyway. Awesome story. And then we go into a little bit of 90s. So we got a little bit of Justice League, the Star-Crossed movie. The Secret Origins movie. I'm just going to keep going. Paradise Lost. Justice on Trial. This film is awesome because this is Black Adam against Superman and Shazam. This is such a good... It's only like half hour, 45 minutes, but Black Adam is a gangster. The Apocalypse. Bit of the animated series.
So, Lee, do you like Batman?
No, I hate Batman.
What's not to like?
I'm liking all this DC over Marvel, definitely.
I've always said this, Scott. DC do better.
So I have to say this now. Finally, somebody agrees with me with Cities of Gold is the worst cartoon ever made.
The song was amazing.
I
hate it.
I'll drive to his house after the stream and kick fuck out of him. Jojo Bizarre, which is another awesome anime, 90s. Something a bit newer. Batman Ninja, which is awesome.
That is good. I've seen that.
Yeah, very good film, underrated. Batman: The Long Halloween, which is cool as well. We've got one Marvel one here, but it is good. It's Into the Spider-Verse, which is cool.
Do you know, that actually was really good, that one. I was
good film. Number 2.
I was surprised how good it was.
Yeah, very good. I found this one by luck. I forgot I had this Supernatural anime series.
Is that really any good? Is it any good though, Lee?
It's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. It's worth watching because if you like the TV show, I've got a few more and then we'll stop. This is probably my favourite DC movie, and it is Batman Under the Red Hood, where Red Hood comes into it. Red Hood is Jason Todd, the second Robin who gets killed by the Joker and gets brought back to life by the Lazarus Pit, which is Ra's al Ghul's way of being immortal. So this film is so good. And
Duncan's comment down here, Lee. DC do better cartoons, but when it comes to movies...
Yeah. Now, yes, I get you, but I must say, watch Justice League, the Snyder Cut. I think that's hopefully the start of better films. But this film,
I don't know. They're doing the Flash, so maybe not.
Well, if the Flash is going to have I haven't got the movie here, but it's the Flash time paradox where Michael Keaton will be Batman, hopefully, as in the alternative universe where instead of Tom Wayne and Mary? No, not Mary. Fuck.
Centurions. Great one.
Anyway, Batman's mum and dad don't die. It's actually Bruce Wayne and his mum die. And his dad is Batman, but he's more violent, shoots to kill, got guns. And it's called Flash Paradox. It's awesome.
Yeah, the thing is, though, that's not the problem. It's the actor that's in it, isn't it?
Oh, Ezra Miller.
Ezra Miller, you know about all the stuff he's done, right?
Yeah, he ain't well. I've got a couple more and we're done. Justice League, Crisis on Two Earths, which is awesome. Son of Batman, another good one. Salt and Arkham, which is another great battle. I've got so many like Batman. Cheap one to get. Batman Gotham Knight.
Is there any Batman you don't have?
I've got that.
I've got all the Batmans. I think that's an awesome one.
Yeah, I've got that one
really
because you showed it.
Yeah, I was talking about these last night. These are voiced by RoboCop. Oh, I forgot his name again. Peter Weller. Peter
Weller. Yeah.
He does the voice of Batman in these, and his voice is very good. He's like proper distinctive. 4 more, so we're done. This is a good one. This is an alternative universe of Batman.
So
Superman.
what swaps are you looking for these then? So we can let people know.
Batman and the Turtles. That's really good. That is really good.
Shredder
fights Batman, and it is so cool. Batman Hush. This is a newer one where Bruce Wayne gets cloned. Gotham by Gaslight, where Batman's back in Jack the Ripper times. That is really, really good. The last one I've got here is Batman the Killing Joke. It's a bit of a special one. You got a little figure with it. Shit film.
I was going to say, I was disappointed in that one.
Yeah, shit film. But you can now get these little figures. I thought I want to get them. So yeah, basically that's my question. 80s and 90s films or anything. So sorry I took so long, but I had lots to show.
Have you had all of those in storage? Now you've got them out. You're going to watch them.
No, they're in my living room. I've got a massive cabinet full of all my Blu-rays and my DVDs, and I'll put them back when I'm done. Basically, I've got more than this. I didn't even pull out hardly any Marvel. I've got more DC. I've got all of the Aquaman, Wonder Woman 1, Flash 1. I've got so many cartoons. I may have a problem.
Good problem to have. Rob, come on then. What are your favourite 80s and 90s cartoons? We've actually had some good ones down in the comments.
Yes, I've seen them.
We've had
hang on.
Jason the World Warriors. We've got DuckTales, Kent Duckula.
I don't think anyone's mentioned mine.
I'd like to say cartoon that's not a cartoon if I can. Can anybody remember Starfleet?
Yes, I've got my original VHS of it. I've still got my VHS.
Oh, I adored it. You know, we nearly got 2 series of that, but the studio in Japan burnt down. ITV approached them to do another season as well. Yeah, gutted. But I love that. I know it was a puppet show, but that was my favourite. But then you got like Transformers the movie, the ultimate movie that traumatised an entire generation of kids. Yeah, but it's still awesome. It is an amazing film.
But was only there to sell the next toy line, though, wasn't it? That's the only reason that was there.
That's all it was. Yeah.
There was such a backlash when they killed Optimus Prime that the director of that movie, who then done Action Force, I think I said this as well, Action Force the movie, and they tried to kill Duke off, and there was such a backlash, they didn't kill Duke off, and they brought back Optimus Prime in the second movie, which went straight to video, because obviously he's the most iconic Transformer ever, voiced by Peter Cullen, who's done so many voices of TV shows, and
the Snorks. God, I forgot about that. Sorry, Rachel, you've never seen that? God, that's bringing back some memories, that is.
So look, Gundam, there's one there, Pole Position was one of my favourites.
Pole Position, the intro. Oh, that was
Pole Position! Yeah. And then someone said Robotech. I think it was one of next to go. He said about Robotech, which is actually 3 animes in one. Because the American TV shows love to take Japanese or Chinese cartoons and cut them up to make a series like they've done with Power Rangers and all the other ones. So Robotech is actually 3 films in one, 3 shows in one actually. Gundam is awesome. I'm watching Gundam tonight. I was before the stream actually. Gundam Unicorn, which is one of my favourites.
Right now,
I did see someone say Telebugs though. That was
yeah. Now Rob can talk.
That was good.
I get so excited.
And I knew when the cartoon one came up that you wouldn't be able to control yourself.
I know, man. I love a cartoon.
So, apart from Starfleet and that, any more, Rob? Any memorable ones?
Jason the World Warriors, but I think that's already been said.
Do you know what with Jason the World Warriors, though? Only had 1 season of that.
I know. That is terrible,
it got canned. It got canned because it didn't... You know, it did better.
Paul, listen to the intro. Go and listen to it, and you'll love it.
It got canned because when it got released, it didn't do very well. But because it got pushed in the UK,
Nightmare. No, it's not a cartoon, but Nightmare. Who remembers that?
Yeah, Nightmare. God, Nightmare.
Watch that.
Defenders of the Earth. Defenders of the Earth.
Oh, someone said mine. Oh, Captain Planet.
Lee's going to say them all, so we just go away for half an hour and come back.
Yeah. Oh, have you seen the toys they brought out of them?
The new one,
the
new
toys.
Dragons.
The new toys are well good.
They're expensive though, aren't they, for what they are?
Of course, because they all know we're going to fucking buy them, innit?
Yeah.
There we go. Poddington peas.
And at the bottom of the garden, where the birds
a funny story about that. The old Poddington
people. They're called the Poddington peas.
That's enough of that.
I sing that theme tune to Eden because when she was little, I used to call her Peahead. I used to sing Poddington peas to her.
What a thing to call your child.
I know.
Okay then, Scott, let's move on to you then. What are your cartoons?
Well, I think a lot of them have been said, but it was 70s, but 80s as well, and that was Battle of the Planets. I don't know if that's been mentioned. I love that cartoon. Yeah.
Gatchaman.
And then that was followed by this, Ulysses.
Oh, amazing.
Ulysses.
Literally got it written down.
Yeah, I love Ulysses.
The music is amazing. Oh my God.
See,
it's a French movie.
With a lot of the cartoons, I don't know if it's with me age or what, but if I go back to He-Man, I love He-Man, don't get me wrong, but the cartoons don't flow and they don't make much sense. And
yeah, exactly.
They're kind of not got the plot there. The same with like Thundercats and all of those. They're great, don't get me wrong, but now what Ulysses, you can still sit and watch that and really enjoy it.
I remember, wasn't his son called Telemachus?
Yes,
That's right.
Yeah. And then also the cartoon series that never got an ending that frustrated me the most is this one, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Oh man, how did we
How
forget
did they
about that?
never end this story?
Is everyone reading off Paul's list?
I give up.
There's so many 80s. I'm on a bit of a cartoon hunt. I have been for a while, and I've been picking up these box sets.
You can
Some
tell
are
it's not
very hard to
scripted.
get. You know, Jason the Wheel Warriors. That's a hard DVD to get hold of.
Yeah,
But for
it is.
90s, I just recently picked that up. Batman.
Nice.
I absolutely love this. Me and Connor have been really getting into these. Still
Very
hold up
dark.
so well.
Very dark.
Maybe I might as go as
It's
far
very
as to
true
say-
there. Catchy cartoon intros is a lost art.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would possibly say that this is my favourite Batman universe of them all. I love this because it mixes a bit of dark Batman with the 60s Batman, with all of it. And they get it just right, the balance.
And I need to address this as well because we all like Thundercats. The reboot. Okay, not that reboot. The new reboot.
That was a good
Never
one.
seen either.
that was really good.
Yeah, I
that
the
25
two, that one
reboot
was.
brilliant.
The
But I'm
Nickelodeon
talking
one.
also the new one. No.
See, I tried to watch
Absolutely
Thundercats
terrible.
again, but like Lino just comes off as such a big-headed git.
Thanks for the contacts, Matt. Paul,
do it.
Lee.
No, it's fine. It's 3 seconds.
Ulysses.
What was
We'll
Rob
have to have a
saying there?
duet.
No, I tried
on,
to
Rob.
watch Thundercats again, but I can't get past Lino. He's such a big-headed. Well, I
Yeah.
want to swear. You know what I mean?
I'm Lino, Lord of the
Thundercats. I don't need you. I'll get myself into trouble. See you later.
Yeah.
And then he calls for help at the end, and it's the same every time. So we all did love Thundercats, but on a rewatch, it's
Yeah. It's a hard.
no, sorry, not for me.
Okay, the nerdy geezer. Let's see if you can get any more off Paul's list.
Well, I was
Oh,
gonna say,
they're
like,
all done. But
most
to
of
be
the
fair-
ones. Go on,
No,
Paul. What was
I'll
you gonna say?
I'm on next anyway. Don't matter.
Most of the ones I was going to say, to be fair, have probably already been said because Jason the Will Warriors was one of mine. Danger Mouse, He-Man. One that hasn't been said, Brave Star.
Brave
Yeah.
Star.
That had a good intro too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turtles. I don't know if that's been said.
How has Turtles not been said? I've just
I know.
realised it
I
hasn't.
Get that?
Well, I got another one here, or another two that no one said yet. Trapdoor.
Burn.
But,
Feed me.
Super Ted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
Super
Super
Ted. Does anybody else remember Raggy Dolls?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Dolls like you and me. Ba, ba, ba.
Okay, I think we're talking about good ones now.
Tunes, though. The 80s had them.
Yeah,
They
so,
do
some of
definitely
your what's your worst ones though, Lee?
Oh,
Not
Right,
that.
well, my worst one's been said already. Captain Planet. I thought that was crap.
Oh, that was rubbish, wasn't it?
Yeah, wasn't it? Earth, Wind.
Yeah, we all watched
Fire,
it.
Water.
Have you tried
Yeah.
playing the Amiga port of Captain Planet?
Any
No.
game of Captain Planet is rubbish.
But it was a packing game though, wasn't it? That's the thing with the Amigas. That Captain Planet was their packing game.
Do you I don't know how much if you guys have seen the new Castlevania
Only
animated
the first one, only the
Netflix.
first season.
So that the man who made that, he's an American. He's an Asian bloke. He's Indian. He's from America.
No one said
He-
Ghostbusters.
No, they haven't, have they?
Oh my
he
god,
made,
the real Ghostbusters!
Yeah,
That
no
was
one
one of
said
my
that.
favourites. Yeah.
Yeah.
He made the live action Power Rangers, live action Captain Planet, and a live action Power Rangers, like a new updated one. And they're on his YouTube channel. It's worth a watch. They're actually quite good. They're a little bit more adult, and they're actually good. But regardless, Phantom. Used to love
Yeah,
that.
the other one I didn't like was I didn't like the reboot of Thundercats, like the first reboot, the anime one. Didn't like it at all.
Oh,
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I
Really
thought it was good.
Nah, not for me.
Hong Kong Fooey.
Okay,
Oh,
let's
yeah?
get to Paul then before he explodes.
So yeah, I kind of had three for my favorite because I find it so hard to choose. But Dungeons and Dragons, I absolutely love that. Venger was like such an awesome bad guy. I loved how they got there. They went on a ride and then ended up in another world and they were trying to escape. And you had this little wizard guy who was like really like cryptic about everything and just wouldn't just spit it out what they've got to do to get home. But they all had like different strengths each. And I don't know if they ever finished. But Scott, did you say that it never finished?
No, they never finished it.
They never got home.
They never got home.
But didn't they did get home once, didn't they? But they had to go back home, or it wasn't real. It was like because I remember thinking, oh my god, they've actually got back, and then we're starting all over again. So Dungeons and Dragons, I absolutely love watching that on a Saturday morning. I did not miss it without fail. Ulysses 31, it used to be on a Friday. I always remember finishing school for the weekend, and I used to run home so I could catch Ulysses. I love the music, the space, the adventure, and I didn't know it was all based on is it Greek mythology or something?
True
like
story.
That?
Yeah.
Well,
True story.
Mythology is it not in the
True
name?
story.
I don't know.
It's legends, isn't it? It's legends.
It's a legend, apparently.
And then the third one, it wasn't a cartoon, a bit like what Rob was saying before, but Retro Skelly, he put it up there, and it was Terrorhawks. I absolutely loved Terrorhawks. I used to have the Sergeant Ball head with the eyes, and I used to have the square thing. Oh, I used to have them when I was a kid, and I'd love to own one of them now.
I was so petrified of one of the monsters in Terrorhawks, man.
Her name was Zelda, innit? Zelda was the baddie in that, I think her name was.
Yeah.
Paul,
I've seen a few people in real life look like her, to be fair. You know,
Paul, you said about Venger.
Venger.
Sorry, Venger. He was voiced by Peter Cullen, Optimus Prime.
Oh, really?
I did not know that.
Yeah, he was, voiced by Peter Cullen.
Star Chaser, Legend of Orion. I had to put that up there. Love that cartoon.
Yes.
Really, really do.
Well, that's probably you.
As I was going to say, I think isn't the question ones you didn't like as well, because I have got quite a list of ones I didn't like.
Rattle.
So this might not be very popular, but I could never get on with Banana Man. It was just, I just
didn't like Banana Man.
I just didn't like Banana Man. It was just, it was just crap. I hate it.
Okay, where did Eric live?
I can't remember what number.
Not a clue.
Number 27, Mademoiselle Road.
I was hoping one of you would know, because I actually forgot as I asked the question.
I'm sure it's something like Acacia Street or something.
Yeah, Acacia or something like that, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
In the comments, where did Banana Man live? Let's put us all out of our misery.
Hang on.
People are Googling it as we speak, like Lee.
Well, while you Google that, I'll move on to the next one, because the next one was it DuckTales with Scrooge McDuck?
Oh, how can you not like DuckTales?
How can you not like that?
Because I found the younger ones just annoying. They were really annoying characters.
Have you seen the remake of it?
Why? Because it was all about the money and that, so he was a bit of a dick.
The new one,
all right. But
the new DuckTales is actually voiced by David Tennant.
Yes.
Oh wow! I didn't even know there was a new one. I just block it. I'm like, no. Yeah. It's kind of like number 7. It just doesn't register.
29, Acacia Road.
So that's Banana Man and Scrooge McDuck. The third one is Gummy Bears. I used to find them highly annoying as well.
I remember the intro. I never remember watching it.
It has the catchiest intro.
Oh man, they just used to annoy me. Family Nest. Obviously, I live in Inverness, which is where it's based, and our lass didn't even know that cartoon existed. And I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
I used to love Family
Gummy
Nest.
Bears done by Disney. It was, wasn't it?
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. Disney.
What was?
Disney put out so many cartoons in
Gummy
the
Bears.
80s. Yeah, Gummy Bears, Tailspin, DuckTales.
What about raccoons? No one said raccoons.
Yeah, raccoons.
I like raccoons.
Yeah.
But the last one that I didn't like, and this is probably quite a really big franchise for cartoons, but one I've just never really enjoyed at all was the Smurfs. I just didn't like the Smurfs.
I agree with you there. Smurfs was crap.
Gargamel.
Keep the Smurfs. Didn't like it.
That can Smurf off.
Raccoons probably had the best intro. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Bertie Raccoon was me.
Anything you need.
Run
I didn't know we were having a karaoke night tonight, to be honest.
When you started talking about that, you reminded me of Cyril's sneer, actually.
Nah.
Yeah, he's a cigar.
We're going to do karaoke live at Scott's house the next time we meet up, and I will gladly sing all these songs.
Well, you guys can sing. I'll be behind the camera. So anyway, I have got a couple as well. Visionaries is another one that I absolutely loved. Another one I've still got the original VHS of. Does anyone else remember Stop It and Tidy Up?
Yes. There's
Big bad I said no.
And I'm trying to think of a cartoon though that it just really needs to stop and be done. Is The Simpsons just needs to end?
Yes.
The Simpsons was done. It needs to be finished and move on. I cannot stand The Simpsons anymore. It just needs to be done.
I'm the same. It's got old, isn't it?
To be fair, it got old 20 years ago.
Yeah.
If this question was what was your favourite cartoon ever, it would definitely be Family Guy. I love Family Guy.
I struggle to go back to Family Guy now, to be honest.
Yeah.
I was really late to the party. I only started watching it like 5 years ago. So I see episodes that everyone's seen, and I'm like, oh my God, that was the best episode ever. So it's still quite fresh for me, you know?
There's one cartoon that it was a stop motion one that no one's mentioned yet. So maybe not everyone. It was Bertha. Remember Bertha, the lovely machine? Bertha, lovely Bertha.
Yes, I do. It's the same time as Charlie Chalk. Remember that one?
Oh, Charlie Chalk.
Charlie Chalk. Penny Crayon, stuff like that. Yeah.
You know, I swear to God, I could.
Right, anyway,
Can you remember the shoe?
The shoe people, the mouths never moved.
Someone said
Looming's next.
Looming's actually an anime manga, the Japanese.
Someone's
Right, I'm cutting this off now because we literally could carry on with this all night. Thank you so much for your great cartoons and stealing all of Paul's favourite ones as well.
I can't believe I actually bothered to write them down as well. I was just like ticking them off. Yeah.
I am going to go through the comments in a second, but I'm going to put the next question up. Where are we? Banners, there we are. Who shall I go to next? We are going to go to... What was that, Lee?
Someone put Trumpton, classic.
Sorry.
You, Barney McGrew, Cuthbert Double Grub.
Right, we're going to go with Rob, Knots Gamer, and his question, where did gaming start for you? But I'm going to quickly, before we start off on that, I'm going to go in the comments because there were so many great cartoons in there, I genuinely could not keep up with how the chat was going. So, if I've missed you all out, I apologise.
Fuck you.
I can see American Dad in there. I did prefer that to Family Guy.
Hollywood Button Moon. That's very a classic.
Funny,
Guys, we've finished.
Right,
Because you know it'll start up again. You know exactly how it'll go.
I can't help myself.
Right, anyway.
I could stream on that for 2 hours, to be fair.
We could. We will. We can do that another time. So I'm going to put Rob. You are on the screen now. You are big screen, so everyone can see you. Show us your beer.
I'm drinking JMC's finest again.
Great beer.
I have to import this from 3 million years into the future as well, so it's quite difficult to get.
So your question then.
The question is I know it's basically where did gaming start for you? What game really got you interested in the hobby? I mean, you know, you may have played games a little bit beforehand, but what's that one game that really pulled you in and got you addicted in the first place to what you want to do? And with me, growing up, we had computers in the house. We had a BBC Micro and an Amiga 500 and stuff like that, but we didn't have much software. So I didn't really get a good taste for gaming then. And it weren't until my parents bought me a Master System and I experienced this beautiful game here, R-Type.
Nice.
Absolute classic. Just the colour, the speed, everything about these games blew me away. And I had an Amiga 500 in the house, guys, but we just had crap software for it. We had like Deluxe Paint and Lemmings. So I didn't really appreciate my Amiga. But when I got the Master System, that was it. I was hooked on shooters from there. And I followed that up with Galaxy Force as well. I mean, the Master System was chock full of some awesome games. Yeah. And if it weren't for this little machine, I may have gone in a completely different direction in life. But it truly was the Master System that started it all for me. it was my first machine that I owned personally as well. So maybe there is that about it. But some of the games I just couldn't put down. I've got a few. Not got many Blu-rays as Chef had, but another great one was Psycho Fox.
Great game.
Nah, I loved this. And the only other game I played that was anything like this was Decap Attack on the Mega Drive.
It kind of plays the same though, don't they?
Yeah, or Magical Flying Turbo Hat Adventure if you prefer the Japanese one because it's awesome. But yeah, the Master System just had everything. It had all types of games. It's where I first cut my teeth on an RPG as well with Phantasy Star. And it's a series I've not been able to put down ever since, guys. I think I've just put a video out about PSO from an old VMU I found. But the Master System was really, really what told me that gaming was a nice hobby, something that you could really get a lot of fun from. My question to you guys is, what game was it that got you into it? With it being R-Type for me, I mean, what game really, really pulled you in? Not format, just game. It doesn't matter what it was on.
Yeah.
Just curious to know what got you guys going.
Nice.
Guys, are you witnessing any problems with the stream?
I was then, yeah. It was flickering a little bit then.
It keeps freezing my end.
Is it? What's your weather like? Oh. What's your weather like, Scott? Is it windy, rainy, or no?
Nah, it's calm here.
Yeah, it's fine where I am.
Must be Dudley.
Yeah, I have noticed a bit of flickering. It probably is.
Can't be me.
It can't be you. I love that, Paul. It's normally you. You're normally panicking, trying to plug your cable in.
I've got the cable in. We're on 500 megabytes per second, so we're all good.
Is that all?
Okay, then Scott, can we keep on going around the room? Where did it all start for you?
Well, I think I've told this story many a times over the years, but my first game. See, I can remember being really little, going to the seaside, going to the arcades, playing on Buck Rogers and Space Invaders, Pac-Man. But they didn't really grip me. There was something you done when you went out. And then when the first home computers come, because I'm that little bit older, it was this game. And that is Death Chase.
Nice.
Now, this game, I can remember having a bad day at school. My mum saying, cheer up, once you get home, your dad's got something you're going to love. And I was like, I wonder what it is. Got home, and he had this, like, back then you didn't have computer tables or computer desks. It was like a writing desk he'd put in the living room with a little black and white TV on it and a Spectrum 48K. And he sat there playing Jumpin' Jack. And I can remember just sitting there watching it, thinking, what is this? This is amazing. And then he said, oh, this game you'll enjoy. And he loaded in 3D Death Chase. And my God, from that moment on...
It's amazing, that game.
I was just absolutely mesmerised by computer games. And then I think, sort of like a few years later, I can remember on a family holiday, when I started realising sort of all the different companies and different games being made, I see Outrun. And when I see Outrun and that blue Sega writing, that was it. I was just like, Sega are just the best. And
yeah,
that's where my passion from Sega began. So yeah, 3D Death Chase on the Spectrum, 48K, a 16K game as someone's putting down there, which is just crazy.
It really is,
still
isn't
plays
it?
really well today.
I was always told with that game though that I can play it, but you have to turn the sound off. Because the sound of that bike going forward, I think used to wind my parents up.
Can I ask a question? If the game that your dad had put on was a text adventure, do you think your journey would have been the same?
Possibly could have been different, but I tell you what, my mum absolutely loved The Hobbit on the Spectrum, and she used.
Is that the one that came with the book?
Yes, and then she also loved a game called Urban Upstart, which again was a text adventure, and I used to sit there and watch her play them. So I think I still would be into them because text adventures were massive.
I was just wondering if the first game would have made like a difference depending on what the game would have been, you know?
Oh, probably would have, wouldn't it? If it was just like heavy text and, you know, I couldn't read very well when I was a kid, so I'd have probably struggled.
I still can't now.
I think that's just a fake one, sorry. I've seen him fucking... When we was at your ass, he had a fucking Agatha Christie... I can't say her name. Agatha Christie. He was fine.
Can I just say, when Size had a drink, his text messages are amazing. It's
They're the best. They're the best. I love drunk, Si.
Well, he'll be back again this weekend. Paul, no kebabs this time, though.
No.
Take some toilet roll with you as well, you filthy animal.
So, Scott, that is actually amazing, though, to think of just that one take, though. And it's still a game that really does hold up today, though, doesn't it?
It does.
There are games on the Spectrum that could have been your first game that you load up now for nostalgia reasons, but are unplayable.
And the thing is this is such a fast loading game because it's only 16K. Whenever I turn the Spectrum on, this game is played every single time without fail. After all of these years, the first game I had that I could say was mine in my house was this game, and I still play it loads now. It's crazy.
Lee, what's your one then? Nerdy Geezer.
Right, well, my start's a little bit different to some of yours, and I'm going to show you the very first thing that got me into gaming, which I recently picked up from our good friend who's this way, and that is Alien Attack.
You got that right. We always point in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
You got it right.
So, basically, I mean, I was about 7, and someone brought one of these into school. Now, we got to think that was 1985, so very few people had... Very few people had micros. Some people had Ataris, but not many. So basically, what we pretty much played was these. Now, obviously, I was in a one-parent family, so.
Bye, Scott. Sorry.
He should just swivel the chair around then.
Yeah, I know, really. It shows you should be more stylish. Sorry, Lee.
It's all right, though. So yeah, where I was in a one-parent family, obviously we couldn't afford things like Spectrums and Commodore 64s and stuff like that. So
unless somebody stole them.
Well, that was later. But anyway, so I was playing on these at school because kids brought them in because it was one of them days, where you could take your toys in, right? And I remember I took my Star Wars figures in, and they just got put to the side because the minute I saw that, one of my friends had that, I was like, right, got to play that, and that's where it started, because from now, I remember my sister then bought me a cheap pocket game, proper electronic one, not the ones with the metal balls or anything. It was a proper electronic one. And then obviously later on, I ended up getting a Commodore 64. But I'd say between the LCD and the Commodore 64, the first game I played really was Double Dragon in the arcade. Whoa. So that's why I love beat 'em ups and fighters, all because of that game. That's where it started for me.
Well, it's a good job you played it on the arcade, though, because if you'd have started with Double Dragon on the Atari 2600, that would put you off gaming for life.
Well, to be fair, when I got to C64, I went and got Double Dragon and was disappointed anyway. So, so that doesn't really make much difference. But I mean, with the arcades, I remember my mum used to give me some money to get like the bus into town, and I think I was probably about 9, maybe 10 then. And instead, what I do is walk into town with my mates and then pump the money into Double Dragon. So, yeah, I was in an arcade called Montag in Gray's Inn. So, yeah, good times.
Great one, that is. Do you know what I love about those actual tabletop arcade ones? Is it did feel like having your own arcade game in your house. I know they're only small. The weird thing is, we've gone back to them small arcades and everything now. What's the one that you've just picked up, Rob?
Oh, the Egret Mini.
Yeah, so they've gone back to the same thing, haven't they? We're putting other games, but shrinking them right down so you can play them on your desk.
I'd love a full-size one, but this room's too small.
Then again, saying that, the price you pay for them mini one, that mini Egret, that's not cheap, is it?
They're bloody not. No. Be forewarned as well. If anyone wants to get one from Strictly Limited, when it hits the UK customs, it's about another £60 import tax, guys, on top of everything else. Yeah.
So you probably could have afforded a full-size Egret then.
yeah, pretty much. All right, at least halfway there.
That is crazy. That is. So is that your ones then, Lee?
Yeah, that's mine. Yeah.
Right, I'm going to go and say my first gaming memory. I remember my dad having the ZX81 and sitting there typing games in, and I always remember him sitting there for ages typing and pressing something, and all you get is a couple of lines going across the screen. Paul's gone for his emergency pie.
He's gone for a shit.
And I was fascinated by it. The weird thing is, I can go back to the ZX81 now and I can appreciate it and see what the games are. The same with the Spectrum. I don't really have a lot of real memories of the Spectrum as like first games. I always remember it being there. But the first ones I remember is going around to my cousin's house who had an Amstrad CPC, and he was playing Harrier Attack. Oh, no, Space Harrier. Sorry, Space Harrier, not Harrier Attack. And it's the music, and I've mentioned this before, that I always thought that was on a different system, and they all sound wrong, and they all look a bit different. And it's when I found that again and loaded it up, I sat there and went, that is my memory. That is me watching him play Space Harrier. I keep going to say the wrong one again. You know what I'm trying to say. And the thing is, there's another game that he played as well, and I played a lot, and I cannot remember what it was. I think it may have been, is it Russian Attack or Rush Attack, or what's that one called?
Green Beret.
Green Beret, yeah.
Green Beret.
I'm sure it was that, but I've gone back and tried to look at that game, and either I was looking for it through nostalgia glasses or whatever. It doesn't look right, so it may not.
What system?
It was the Amstrad. It was the Amstrad. I remember there being lots of little figures and running across from left to right and going up and down on things, but shooting people along the way. So that made me think it was that game. But when I've loaded it up, it looks completely different. I remember really small sprites. So whether I'm just remembering completely wrong or what, I don't know. But it was going around to my cousin's house and watching him really love the Amstrad on his green screen that really got me fascinated into games. And then we got the Amiga, and then, you know, it carries on down that way. But if it wasn't for going to his house and not being allowed to play it properly either, I had to go, and then he had to go back again. So
that game you're thinking of the Amstrad, one of the best sort of like side-scroll run and gun sort of games was Gryzor. That's brilliant on the Amstrad.
I'll have to have a look. Send me that as a message so I don't forget, because you know I will.
Yeah.
And I'll see if that's it, because it's one of those. It's like, if I see it, I'll know it. If you know what I mean, the second I see it on the screen, I'll know it. But what playing that games was the best ones for me. So, Paul, what's yours? Now you're back.
So my journey is a little bit similar to Lee Nerdy Geezer, because the first kind of computer game I ever had was it was Astro Wars, the Grandstand Astro Wars. I've got one now. Like playing it is just so nostalgic. You know, it's just the simple Space Invaders, but it's class, really is. So that was the days before I even knew. I didn't even know that the microcomputer existed. Like, I literally did not know that. I'd seen Pong on the TV, and I just wasn't that into it. It was just like, I didn't think it was that great. But I used to love me Astro Wars, my little little arcade sort of game thing. And then I was playing football one afternoon on a Saturday, and it started raining. And my friend Terry McNally, who lived right next to us, was like, "Oh, my dad's got he's got the computer set up. Do you fancy having a play on that?" And I was like, "What's that?" And he's like, "Oh, come on, I'll show you." So I went in, had a look, and he was playing a game on the TV, and like the game was loading, and there was all these like flashing screens, like, you know, there was all these like bars going across the screen, and I was like, what is this? Like it's not that great, you know what I mean? You're just looking at a screen with flashing lights. And he was like, no, it's loading. And then when the game loaded up, I heard something which completely changed like me, and it just said, another visitor, stay a while, stay forever. And he just loaded up Impossible Mission on the Commodore 64, and I went from me Astro Wars to that, and I was just like, oh my god, that is just. And
it's
then
a proper jump, though, isn't it? Really, of graphics and everything.
And I was like completely addicted. I was just like, this is just amazing. So that was the first game. And then the same afternoon, we played a game called Platoon, and that was the first time I'd heard real like 8-bit music. And the music on the Commodore 64 version of Platoon, it's just absolutely stunning. It's just some of the best music you could ever listen to. Like, it's my favorite. It's even more favorite than Commando, which is like the intro music. Like, I just love the music from Platoon. So obviously I've absolutely hammered my parents, and eventually they got me a Commodore 64. This was the one I originally, well, not the one I originally got, but by the time I got one, this was the model but because of me, because we made Terry, he had like a bread bin. I wanted a bread bin, so I actually got this for the older bread bin, which was a really stupid thing.
Yeah, it's like going backwards, that, isn't it?
Yeah, because these were a lot more reliable by that point. So yeah, that's exactly where my gaming journey started. Right there, that very day.
So from somebody saying "stay for a while, stay forever," you never left.
Pretty much it. I will stay forever. I'll always love it a bit. It was where it started. It's where it'll finish.
But what a C64 game to first walk up to! Like, it's a great game, isn't it? Like,
Oh man, when I heard that like voice, and then I was like I just couldn't believe that it was coming from that game. And the game just totally drew me in immediately. You know, it was good for the 64. It was good animation, and it was just an awesome game. Like, I know a lot of people don't get on with it, but like I'll always love it because it was like the first real game that I played.
Nice, great memories as well.
But I was very lucky to play Platoon second. I never got off that first level in the jungle for years, but I didn't want to because I just enjoyed playing that first level so much. It's like, it's just brilliant. Yeah, great memories, and yeah.
So what's yours then, Lee? Retro Chef.
Lee,
Where
get
did
it
it all
out
start for you?
before you look at the comments, Lee, and seeing how England are doing because you said you was going to smash your laptop up. Can you answer the question?
I just want to say one thing about England. Why call up a load of new players and don't fucking play them? Anyway, forget.
Maybe you watched them in training and thought, nah, they're not good enough.
Nah, mate. You listen. You pick any kid out of the street would give their left arm to play for England.
It doesn't mean they're good enough.
And then we played all these mugs who ain't got anyway. Fuck, we're gonna get smashed in the Christmas, didn't we? Over the fucking World Cup. Gonna get smashed. So my first.
Hang on, let's make him feel a bit better.
Oh, put some of them new faces on the pitch, Lee.
Ronaldinho, who scored? If it's Harry Kane, I'm not supporting Spurs. I hate.
Hold on, it did come on me. Luke Shaw.
Oh, Roberto Carlos.
Minute.
Roberto Carlos, our left back. Bless him.
Yeah, on the Euro final.
So, my first gaming, or where did it start off for me? My brother had a Spectrum 48K or wherever it bloody was, and like I think I've said this before. He used to play Jack Nipper, and I remember that game so much because as a kid, it was obviously a little baby on the screen sort of thing, doing bits and pieces, and then we played Predator and Section Z, which would look like Contra. Section Z. Something like that. Anyway, I can't remember what it fucking was now. It looked like Contra, the front picture. Anyway, like with Arnie and Sly.
Oh, Greiser. Was it Greiser?
Greiser. Yeah.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah,
I keep putting Section Z in my head.
Well, there's a big Z in the middle, so.
Oh, right. Okay.
I remember a big Z.
I remember that. I remember Cobra, which was terrible as well.
Cobra's a tremendous game. What are you on about? That's an awesome game on the Spectrum.
Depends what you play it on, though, doesn't it?
It's rubbish on anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, we already saw you had your second half of the.
It's gone. It's
gone. But then my first own system was my Turtles themed NES, which I still own today. Which it's a terrible game, but it's so nostalgic for me as a kid because you got to play with nunchucks and sais and a bow and the katanas, and even though the front cover of the box they all got the red bandanas like the comics, but in the game they had the coloured ones. That was it. That was my introduction. But I don't own a Spectrum. 2-2. You're having a laugh, ain't you? You're having a laugh, ain't you? I
don't know. Let's check.
No, it's 2-2. It's 2-2.
Who scored?
So they've scored 2 goals in the
Mason
time.
Mason Mount.
Mason Mount. He's a count.
75th minute.
He's a count. Fuck it.
Germans are getting tired.
And then obviously I haven't got a Spectrum yet. I will get one. One's popped up locally to me, a disk drive one. I've got no clue.
No, if you're going to get yourself one, get yourself a +2 with the tape deck built in. If it's your first one, Don't go for discs. I mean,
Come down
Scott
to the
knows what it's.
retro realm, Lee. I'll sort you out. I've got a
No
load
worries,
of
brother.
That's what I like to hear.
Bruv. No worries, bro. Do you do credit? Do you do credit? Do you play layaway like America?
Yeah, everyone but you.
No, I might buy I might buy the Spectrum disc plus 3 because I think it's 120 quid and it's got like a shit ton of games anyway. But
You can put a Gore-Tex into one of them, can't you?
Yeah, you can.
I will share that with you. So yeah, so that's and then I'd like we said to Scott, would it have changed if anything if he played a different game? Nintendo, Nintendo means a lot to me, but it's never been a Nintendo Sega war with me. I've always just split all my love with all the systems. To be fair,
He's got to start, hasn't he?
Don't need a Spectrum. Now, what I will say about owning an 8-bit, I can't believe, like, my brother never had a Commodore 64. He went from a Spectrum to Amiga, so that's a massive step up.
It is, yeah.
The Spectrum graphics,
Yeah.
pretty poor. But at the same time, I can see why Harry Kane scored the winner. Lee, if it happens, you have to cheer. It's a big jump, and it was a big jump. But playing the Commodore 64, yes, there's a jump, but it's not like crazy. Really, I don't think it is personally. I think the Commodore 6, the music, I still can't get how good the music is. For me, I was shocked. Like when I watched Paul and Lee stuff and all you guys, and then when I got it myself and I played RoboCop, and it was the dun 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 dun, which always means
you should hear the music that comes out of this thing.
That song, that one.
Yeah. It's on the advert.
That looks like a fucking traffic warden's printer for the old tickets. You know when you get.
Hang on. Are we going to ask this question?
Yeah.
Should traffic wardens be armed, Lee?
I love that. I love that in bottom.
They're not called traffic wardens now, though, are they? They're called
that was back in the day.
They're called wankers.
Traffic persons. I
Off-duty
can't say
checkers
what I want
and
to say.
traffic wardens.
What I want to say, I will get shot, but I can't. Prop get shot. I think if I had a Commodore 64, I think my life would have been different from the beginning. I think my brother had one because the music, I can't get over the music. I really can't. Honestly, I'm not just saying that. I really can't get over how that little computer with fuck all memory in it.
There you go. That'll make Paul happy. That comment there.
Yeah, look, Hawks Mill. I've ordered that Hawks Mill thing, Paul, because I thought I had it. It never turned up, or I never got it. So I bought it now after you were talking about it.
Yeah, it's a good game. It's a good game, and you can get it for like on tape next to now. But you get a digital download as well. So if
I buy the disc, don't I? Because I've got that disc drive that I've never shown anyone.
Have you got a disc drive? Did you?
I've never shown it. I've never shown it.
Never took it out the box.
Yeah. I think So, Jack
Great
was my first thing, mate.
Yeah. Great answers, guys. It's so nice and nostalgic to actually go back and think about the start of your journey, if you know what I mean. I mean, I still remember my dad with the typing games of him swearing a lot because he'd done a long type in and then the RAM pack moved. I always remember there being lots of swearing.
Yeah, so Clive's idea was to put a long string of blue tack on it to stop it wobbling. Yeah, I love that.
Wobble.
Yeah, so high tech.
Right. Got 2 questions left, and I am going to leave it to the end. I'm going to skip you, Scott, and we're going to go to Nerdy Geezer's question because your one is what I want to finish on, and that's the Patreon and e-begging. So we are going to go with this one here, and you got. Do you think gaming is going the same way as Hollywood with the reboots and the remasters? So let's put you on big screen, Lee, and you can take the floor.
Right. Well, the reason why I wanted to ask this question is because I'm not decided either way. Like, I can see this from both sides. So I made a couple of notes here. So, for example, a time when remasters are good is if it's a game that hasn't aged well or is out on a really old system. Like, good example, Crash Bandicoot, for example. If you look at it on the PS1, it hasn't aged too well. So when they did the Insane trilogy, you could see why they did it, And then, of course, the other part of that is that you're opening it up to a new generation, right? A generation that otherwise wouldn't have played it. So I get it from that point of view as well. However, when I do have an issue, is when they just remake it, just so they can shoehorn in things like political agendas, and completely change the tone of the game completely. And we know games that have done that. So, and the other thing is like it's just an excuse to sell that game again, and it comes down quite often. Like it feels like they're creatively redundant. They've run out of ideas, so they just keep pumping out these old games and redoing them. So, like I say, I don't come down on either side. I see it from both sides. I'm just wondering how you guys see it, and that's why I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, if you guys have got any thoughts about this as well, let us know in the comments, and we'll go through that as we go. Hang on, let's figure out. I've lost where the button is. There it is. I'm getting there. I'm going to take this up next because when it comes to the remakes and stuff like that, as you said, I think some games just don't need to be made. You know what I mean? They're of the time. But I'm just going to bring up one game that I'm so glad that they did remake because I loved it back in the day. But it's because it was on the PlayStation 1. Going back to the graphics of it now is really painful. And that's Tony Hawk's. Because I absolutely love Tony Hawk's. And the remake of Tony Hawk's on the PlayStation 4, I think, because I like those kind of games, it's not going to be everyone's style of game. But when you're trying to do the moves and everything on the original game, looking at it now, I mean, we've all admitted the PlayStation graphics haven't aged well at all, have they? You know what I mean?
It depends what type of game it is.
But if you look at Tony Hawk's, that's not
like a
aged well.
3D game.
Yeah, 3D. That's what I'm talking about. 3D. Early 3D stuff on the PlayStation is... Yeah, it's hard to go back to. So when you're doing a game where you've got to have so much precision and everything else, that remake is great. And not only did they remake it, they remade 1 and 2, but they also did it so you can use all of your experience and everything else and carry it across to the second game. So you haven't got to play 2 games twice. So have they just scored, Lee? No, 2-2.
It's a penalty.
Yeah, see?
Oh. It's all gone quiet.
I think it's still 2-2.
So yeah, that's my thought. I absolutely love Tony Hawk's. So now, before the football starts again, Paul, over to you.
Yeah, what we're talking about again? Well, for me, I'm a huge Resident Evil fan. I love the original Resident Evils on the PlayStation 1. And I've got to admit, I'm absolutely buzzing with the remakes that they've done on the PlayStation 4. I really think it complements it well, but they've took it on it's moved on a bit, but they've kept the core concept, the setting of the game, which I absolutely adore. So for me, that's the plus side, but there's also negatives as well.
Paul, do you want to check your phone?
The 3-2. Oh, nice one. Well done, England.
Oh, that's it. We've seen Chef go really.
Hold on. It will have been Kane that have took it if he was playing. Yes, it was Harry Kane, 83rd minute.
Oh, no.
Did Chef have to do something?
Anyway, yeah, sorry.
But this might be a little bit controversial, and it's only a very, very, very recent game. But I've seen the footage recently. It was Retro Skelly put a video on about it. If anyone's not watched Matt Retro Skelly, please give him a look. He's a fairly new YouTuber.
Lovely bloke.
Love Retro Skelly. Love him.
He's trying to get as much content out as possible, so definitely give him a look. He's a lovely guy.
Definitely get over and give him a sub as well.
But yeah, he done a video because he's got the remake of one of my favourite point-and-click adventures ever on the 16-bit Monkey Island, and I must admit, when I saw it, I wanted it to look more retro than what it does. It's it just looks like a modern game. That's Monkey Island, and didn't
they already do Monkey Island on the PlayStation 2 as well?
Yeah. So this would be the fourth one, really. But Pete on a retro tips, I think he's actually completed when I was looking at his Instagram today, and he said it's fantastic. But I just look at it and I think, I wish so much that they'd made it look a little bit more retro. I know it's not a remake, but it's like a reboot. So I'm going to include that one. So for me, yeah, I was really excited for it, but I'm probably not going to play it.
Retro Chef, then, what's your one? Or what's your thoughts?
So, one of the games that really got on my nerves, obviously I mentioned it in the comments, I think Gernard did, was Last of Us. Now, I got it on the PS3, completed it, and I loved it. Yeah, it's not as open world as Resident Evil. When I say open world, Resident Evil's open world. What I mean is it's not as open as you'd think. It's quite on rails in certain elements. It's not like I thought there's a zombie game. I can't think of it. What it's bloody called now. The one where it's
Can
like
I just ask one thing?
Hello.
Has everyone played The Last of Us? Because I haven't.
No.
Oh,
I
okay.
gave up. Yeah. I thought it was rubbish. I've got about an hour or so in.
Is it worth at least trying? Because I have honestly, I've never played it, and I've heard so many conflicting thoughts. I've just never bothered me off.
It's not really a game. It's an interactive.
Yeah, it's not a game. It's very. The second game is basically watching a movie. There's more movie scene cutscenes than game, but it's just. I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it because it hits to your heart. The first 5 minutes of the game gets you in the heart with certain things will happen in the game.
Okay.
It's worth. Paul, I would put it on and see what you think. I'll just put it on.
Hobby Lodge says it's a good game.
Yeah, it is. It is good, but it's not everyone's cup of tea, and obviously I understand that. But I enjoyed the first one, and you fucking have a laugh, 3-3. Oh, fuck's sake.
It's a roller coaster, isn't it? Being an English supporter.
I'm telling you, it's a joke. It's a fucking joke, mate. English wankers. And then it come out on the PS4, all right, and I bought it because it was HD. It was, a few extra bits in it and all that. And now it's just the first game's just come out on the PS5 and it's 60 quid. £60 for a game I've already paid £100 for, basically.
Oh, hey, Mark. See you, mate.
Are we doing? But then the other hand, the Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3 were awesome. I really enjoyed those.
Yes.
The Flashback remake that I bought on the Switch, I quite enjoyed.
Well, I've got that on PS4. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
I did enjoy that. I just don't know where like Grand Theft Auto 5, the other one. It's out on the PS3. Then I bought it on the PS4, and now I've just downloaded it on the PS5. It is a good game. It is a good game. Like I've started to play the online stuff. I've never played the online stuff because I always found it. You get a lot of idiots on there, and I was playing it.
Well,
yesterday.
you play it.
Did you see any of the leaks of Gran Turismo 6? Because the servers got hacked a couple of weeks ago, and someone on Twitter's been releasing videos. He's literally holding them to ransom.
Yeah, Grand Theft Auto. Yeah, it is real.
So it's definitely coming after I don't know how many times we've got Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah.
It's
like every time you get Street Fighter 2.
It's going to have a female protagonist for the first time.
I don't. I just think. I think Grand Theft Auto for me is awesome. Anyway, I love. Like I'm playing the online one, and you'll like it, Paul, because you can pick the style of game you want to play. So if you want to be like a
heists.
Well, this is the thing. So your bases, you can be a drugs runner, a mercenary, a nightclub owner. So I'm a nightclub owner, obviously.
Of course. I bet there's some girls dancing as well there.
In VR.
I know you.
In VR.
Old brasses, you know me. Love a brass. I just think some games have done really well and some look really poor. But then I think the good outweighs the bad. I will say that because I think we've got some good ones out of it. But then there is some ones that are pretty poor. Like the Turtles has just come out. I don't see why that Cowabunga set's come out. And I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I bought it, obviously, but fuck it, I don't know why I bought it. But
we've lost someone.
Who we just lost? Lee.
Lee, never liked him anyway. Fuck it. I'm joking. I love him. You need to finish Elden Ring. Yeah, Elden Ring is just another one I'm taking. But yeah, I'm 50-50 Si about it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Rob, on to you then. See if Nerdy Geezer comes back. I'm going to send him a message actually.
Chef nailed it with Last of Us. I've got to admit, I don't see the point in remaking a game that's not that old.
Yeah.
It's just a cash cow. Naughty Dog, cash cow. They're just trying to get used to the new hardware so they don't bodge their first game up. Let's re-release Last of Us.
Yeah.
No,
exactly
mate,
that. Exactly that, mate. Fair play.
Yeah. But if you get an excellent game that's out of print and it's hard to find and it's dead expensive and people want it, remake. Come on, I get that stuff if it's popular. But we all, I picked up that Super Mario collection on the Switch. Mario 64 on there's a load of shit. It's
really bad.
Yeah,
it looks really bad.
When you're going to do an HD remake, take pride in what you're doing. Developers, are you listening? Especially you, Nintendo, because you embarrassed yourself for that. It was dreadful. Yeah, so ones that are done well and ones that are done in games that people want, yes. But cash cow remakes, man.
Is he back? You're back.
Yeah.
What happened there, Lee?
It froze up on me. Bloody thing.
I think I have noticed a few times. It's frozen a few times for me as well.
Yeah.
Is it frozen for all of you?
It has for me, yeah.
Anyway, where were we? So was that everything, Rob? Sorry, I got distracted there.
I'd love to see Sega remake some of their classics. They're
Obviously.
sitting on the greatest IPs in history, and they're doing fuck all with them.
Yeah,
come on, Sega.
Yeah.
We love you and we love your stuff.
It's happening. Don't worry, it's happening.
What are you playing at?
It's happening. There is some great Sega IP coming.
Do you actually know, or are you praying for them to come?
No, a few people that are quite close to Sega have let me know. That's all I can say. But there is some really big games coming. They are on their way.
That's a collection, not a remake.
I think
this is very different, that, isn't it?
If at the end we should ask if you could have one remake that you really want, what would it be?
Yeah.
Okay, go for it. Paul, you start off then.
For me, it's obviously there's only one. It's Silent Hill. We need a new Silent Hill. I want a VR Silent Hill. That is what I want to play. I want to play a VR Silent Hill.
It's brown trousers time, sir.
Yes.
Retro Chef. just do this as a quick fire. Retro Chef, your one game you want remake.
Sunset Riders. I love on the Super Nintendo, that version, the arcade version. I love that game.
Nerdy Geezer.
Oh, on the spot. IK Plus. I'd like to see a more modern version of IK Plus.
Nice. Yeah, that's
3-player. Yeah.
And not scary. You, Rob, did you just said yours, didn't you? Or
Panzer Dragoon Saga.
Okay.
Nice.
So
Sweet.
Lee, Paul.
Mine would be Shinobi.
Nice.
Shinobi.
Yeah, good shot.
See, to me, let's say remake, whatever. I would just love another F-Zero. I really would.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? They could remake the original one. They can do the Game Boy, even Game Boy one, Game Boy Advance. Just a new one, modern remake of it. Do we actually get your?
To make as good an F-Zero as Sega did for him. That's the problem.
Did we get your thoughts, Scott, on actually remakes of games, or did we?
No.
Go on then.
I've got a bit of a different view on it, and I think where Lee Nerdy Geezer's made the comparison with Hollywood is a good one, but I think what you're seeing is the game industry is going down the same road as Hollywood in the fact that these studios and publishers making these games, it's costing so much money that the people at the top do not want to take a gamble on something new and interesting. And they're just chucking out the same thing over and over again. And it's very easy to say, well, that remake or that film originally or that game originally made X amount of money. We can guarantee that with a remake. That's why they're doing it. And I've personally, from my point of view, I've got no interest in AAA games. They bore me because I've been there, done it, and played it. Do you know what I mean? And there's nothing new anymore. For me, it's all about the indie developers, the smaller companies making games. You know, the one thing that I'll always say about Sega, and it's probably why they failed and they're no longer the big powerhouse they used to be, is because Sega would take a gamble. They didn't care about, you know, it's why it's so hard to get across to them now in their IP from the past, is because they're always thinking about something new. And I know they stick with Sonic the Hedgehog, and that's a safe bet, but Sega is still licking their wounds after losing lots and lots of money. So it's a difficult one, because I think since Sega left the market back in sort of like the early 2000s, there's no one out there taking a gamble. You know, Sega were bringing out fishing games. They were bringing out dancing games. They were bringing out anything that was different. Shenmue. You've got to go back and think of Shenmue originally, how original that was. You know, now it's just, it's not,
I
you know,
think the only thing that compares to that is probably like the, you know, like the developer games that you can get on the Switch. You know what I mean? Like the ones that,
exactly.
But you don't get like the peripherals, you know, like to play the games like what Sega. But Sega were in both markets. You know, they used to like make physical.
What was that one they did for the Dreamcast? Was it Seamen, the one that had Leonard Nimoy as the
Did
fish?
you just say Seamen?
Yeah.
Yes, that's what it's actually called, Seamen. Said that on a stream.
Yeah.
You play with what you play with.
Yep.
But I think that's something that the gaming industry's lacked. And you got Nintendo. I'm not being a Sega Nintendo war here, but Nintendo have been very clever for the last 2 or 3 decades in just giving us the same game.
Yeah.
You know,
But in
when
a
you think
refreshed
about
way.
it, Mario, Zelda, all of them, they're all pretty much the same thing. And that's why I was so impressed with Breath of the Wild, because
I didn't know they made
took
a
Zelda
Super
IP
Frog
and made it
remake.
different.
Yeah. You're right with Breath of the Wild,
Yeah.
Scott. Definitely blew him away, and I'm looking forward to the new game.
And they need to do more of that. Nintendo need to do more of that, because Nintendo are on a winning formula. And I think some of these other games companies, like, you know, when the first-person shooter took off with Halo, Call of Duty, blah, that's all we got is first-person shooters for over a decade. And it's nice to see that there is some different genres creeping out there. And I think some of these indie developers, I'm hoping and praying that these smaller development teams are making the big boys take note.
Did Martin say the other day he went to that game thing, and he said the best thing at the whole game convention was the indie section for the games?
Yes.
Because it was
And
just
it is,
there was
'cause
so
I went
much
to
variety.
Yeah.
I think like Scott said it, you said it in the comments, didn't you? You queued up for ages to play Sonic Mania. And I'm sure, mate, I was there the same time as you, because I queued up for just as long. And it was the only game I played there. The queues for the AAA stuff were wait all day. So
yeah,
you had more fun on the old school, the stuff people weren't queuing for, and the retro section in EGX.
Yeah, and again, you've got to give Sega their dues, because when was that? That was about 6 years ago, wasn't it? When their Sonic Mania was there, and Sega sponsored the whole indie setup there. Sega funded that and had all the indie developers in there, and you know that's good foresight by Sega. But you've got to have these AAA companies these AAA titles have got to reflect and look a bit at some of these indie developers, because imagination, originality, creativity, it's all missing out of a lot of AAA games.
Yeah, a good take on that, Scott, to be honest. And it's interesting to think of, though, isn't it? It's which way are we going to go in the future, if you know what I mean? I do think a lot of these indie games are going to be picked up and, you know what I mean, run with a lot more. Yeah. So the problem is all the games are pretty much feeling the same. And to be honest, I've never liked all these first-person shooters and stuff like that, like the Halo and everything else. So I've never really enjoyed them. So I'm looking forward to new stuff coming out.
Well, for me, you've not only got them like companies now like copying games from the past, but let's be honest, the jump from the PS4 to the PS5, like the next generation, it hasn't really been that groundbreaking.
No,
so
I think we peaked around the PlayStation 3 era of where you finally got the
move
big...
was 32-bit to
I mean, really. You've just got less. They've got less scope to. Well, it feels like they've got less scope to play with. Like it doesn't seem like
has it peaked? That's the thing. Has it peaked?
Really, then make it look a lot nicer than what it did last time.
Okay, we have 15 minutes left, and I wonder whether we can get this last question in the last 15 minutes, because it might get a little bit interesting. But this is Scott Sega Zombie's question. And I'm going to give you the floor, Scott, and over to you.
I just think we like to be up with current affairs and hot things that are going on YouTube, and I don't think anyone's been able to ignore the fact of this whole e-begging Patreon. I don't like to bring Patreon into it because there's a lot of people hating on Patreon, and there's some really good channels and content out there that use Patreon in the right way. I just want to put that in there, but obviously with things going on with what is classed as e-begging, and I think it's really unsavory, and I think that affects everyone involved with YouTube, because you're seeing this divide again, and you're seeing people out there that are hating anyone that's got Patreon or hating anyone that's got any type of monetary value to their content, when I think we need to put it in perspective about the whole e-begging thing. And I just want to get all your guys' views on it, people in the comments, because I think it's really important that you will always get a minority that abuse a platform. And Patreon's just a tool, isn't it? And at the end of the day, it's got to come down to choice. And at the end of the day, you can't hate on someone just because they've set up a Patreon channel, Patreon for their channel. It's your choice at the end of the day. I support certain YouTubers with Patreon. I've got nothing against it. But how far does it go? You know, I know we've talked about this a lot. And for me, Patreon, for me personally, is if you're watching a content creator that you feel is given an awful lot to the community, then why not support that channel if that's what you choose to do? But you're getting a lot of people out there who've got no passion for the retro hobby. They've got no passion for the community. They give nothing back. And they're just preying on vulnerable people to e-beg and live a cushy, easy life. And I think it's a hot topic at the minute with what's going on. I'm going to say it with Lady Decade. There's been some really interesting videos out there about it, some really funny ones. It's just a hot topic at the minute, and I thought we should discuss it.
Funky Spectrum, just in case nobody knows.
Yeah, tell you what then, Paul, if you've started that, you go next. Go. Over to you.
So, well, let's kick off with Patreon, because I had an idea that we were going to be doing this question on the Retro 5. So, a week ago today, I asked a question on my community page, and it was, do you think Patreon is good? Yes or no? And the results were, after 70 votes, the results were yes 60%, and no 40%. So I would say that's quite a split community. I would say, although more are leaning to yes, it's a good thing, I would say that's quite a significant split, you know. So, and that's just within my subscribers, people who'd see that. But what I did see was quite an even pegging, and then the yes, it's okay started to go in the lead, and then after about 5 days, I suddenly got about 20 votes that all voted for no, it's a really bad thing. So that led me on to the next question. That just seems bizarre. How maybe the yes, it's okay got an extra 20% a day, and then all of a sudden it went up by 176%. I did check this out. So I wondered if someone out there really doesn't like Patreon, who's got lots of accounts.
I wonder who that could be.
I don't know, but anyway, that was my first thought. So anyway, all I'm saying is thanks for the interaction, but I still think that vote was a little bit rigged. But yes, it's okay. It still came out 60-40, but I still think that's a close thing. So next, I've got to move on to the positive reasons for Patreon, and I feel that if someone I won't ever. I doubt I'll ever get to this point, because this is just my hobby. I do it, because I enjoy doing it, and I've met awesome people. You know the story. So it'll never. I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. I don't know. But I find that when people are giving up like a huge amount of their own time through their genuine love of the passion of retro gaming, then if they put there the opportunity for someone, if that someone wishes to donate some money towards what they've done, then I've got no issues with that. Because one, it shouldn't be looked bad upon the person who makes the Patreon available. Like they're just making it available. And if someone wants to, without any interaction, we're not talking or chatting to each other, two complete strangers, if they appreciate that person's content, I'm completely happy with someone saying, do you know what? Yeah, I might have had to watch an advert, but I really enjoyed that. There's 50 pence. I have got absolutely zero issues with someone doing that. None whatsoever. It's like going to, I don't know. It's like having a meal, and you know what you're paying for the meal, which is you've got to watch the adverts, so that's the price. But you may want to leave a tip because you've enjoyed the service. You've thought, well, do you know what? I've paid 40 quid for that meal, but I enjoyed the service. The setting was nice, which is the same as, do you know what? Someone's doing this out of their own time. They're not really making that much cash from it. There's an extra quid because, 10% always when you're tipping at a restaurant, guys. That's all I'm going to say. But, you'd happily tip a restaurant if you had really good service. And for me, I kind of see it the same way on YouTube. If you like what you've seen, then it's just like a tip to say, yeah, do you know what? I enjoyed that. That's a positive. The negative side is when people kind of it's not like extortion, but like when they get personal with people who donate to the channels because maybe that person isn't is switched on as what we are potentially. Maybe I don't know, but I feel when it gets personal with people making donations to a channel, I think that opportunity should be taken away. I think it should be always an anonymous tip. Like, when you see it come on a stream, blah, 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 has tipped this much money, or I think that might encourage people who...
Yes, well, it does. That's the thing. They want to see their name on the screen.
So if that wasn't there, then, and it was always anonymous, then people would only tip because they like what they're seeing. It would take that out of the equation. So personally, I think that should be something that should be looked at. And finally, we move on to e-begging. Obviously, we're talking about Lady Decade and Game and Top Art. Top Art's been reprimanded in the YouTube community before because of certain things that's happened in the past. And it was before I was on YouTube, so I didn't really know anything about it. But from like third, fourth hand stories that I've heard, it does make the current things that's happening very suspicious. And the one thing that would make it okay for me is if Lady Decade, the person who put the video out, I don't know who's seen it and who didn't. I don't even know if you can watch it now. But
I think you can now.
If they fully opened their income outcome via YouTube and Patreon, etc., and they took a certain percentage from everyone, which equaled the money that they had to pay. So if you give £2, you would get like 1% back. If you give 20 quid, you would get 2% back. Do you know what I mean? If they give everyone back what they give and give that money to the guy whose picture that it belonged to, then I'd be like, well, okay, fair one. They've took that money, but they've give all the rest of it back. They've made absolutely no profit whatsoever out of it. And then it's up to their subscribers if they want to help that person or not. But because so many people give money and they must have made thousands. Like,
you gotta feel guilty. I'd feel guilty.
I've seen the amount of money that they got.
See,
but what happened with that overflow? So for me, if they've done
that, to move house and they looking to buy a new house.
I mean, I don't know. I can't really comment on. As I say, you should definitely watch the videos that's been
morals,
done.
isn't it? You know, we're living in a time now where a lot of people are finding it tough. You know, energy bills, everything is expensive. Fuel,
But I mean, remember, this is people from all over the world as well that are giving money. But I think if they genuinely took that 500 quid and took a percentage of everyone, so everyone gave like 1% or whatever, and give it all back, and they publicise that.
Yeah, but one big YouTuber paid the fine, or gave the whole money for one.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, can we be just honest here? That is never, ever going to happen as long as I've got a hole in my arse. Never. So it's all conjecture, really. But that would be the only way for me that they could save face. Personally.
Problem is, though, they're going to have to live with this for a very long time. Carry on, Lee.
See, this is the thing when you bring morals into it, though. You know, like I was saying, we've all fallen on hard times. We've all had a unexpected cost. And no one morally would go onto YouTube. I don't think. I would never do it. I've had loads of tough times.
They knew exactly what they were doing.
They knew what they were doing.
You're just embarrassing yourself.
The one part, and I was genuinely shocked when this happened, was when it was the photos of the kids came up. And for one, after what's happened about taking someone else's photos and using it for other things, to put a picture of your kids up after you yourself using someone else's imagery, I mean, I just don't like. And shoot, like the first people who would complain if those pictures were used for other purposes would surely be the parents. Like, I just thought that was like I was on the fence. Like, is it real? Is it not? But when I saw the pictures of the kids, I was like, wow, like that, no way, man.
Rach put a great comment up there about how Lady Decade was abusive and slagged off this guy that's protecting.
She sent people, all of her viewers, sent across to him to attack him. Yeah.
And that's wrong. At the end of the day, it's creativity, isn't it? And they would be mightily pissed off if we all started uploading their videos.
Well, let's be honest,
sure they'd be upset about it.
They're not above stealing people's content anyway, are they? That's the thing.
They don't care.
No. They've done it
They're not
loads.
gamers. They have no clue what they're talking about when they are talking about it. You can have the biggest collection in the world, but that doesn't mean you know anything about games. It just means you've got a lot of money to buy crap.
They could have funded themselves as well with all the crap behind them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
That was
consoles we
completely
only dream
staged
of
there.
owning. Yeah.
So, Retro Chef, what are your thoughts on this before you fall asleep?
Patreon. Paul's got Patreon. That's Skelly and Hobby Lodge. Paying for all those fucking 8-bit games he's sold on his Patreon.
I've got coffee. I've only ever bought Beam One, but hey, do you know what? Thank you.
Hey, I Patreon to a couple of channels, not gaming ones actually. I Patreon to a golf channel, and because I Patreon to his channel, which I think £7 a month, I'm in a WhatsApp group with this gentleman with other golfers, and because I'm part of the Patreon, I can send him little vids of me with my swinging my golf club, me doing bits and pieces. And
Have you got your hand in front of your microphone, Lee?
Have I? No, mate.
Yeah. Oh, that's better now. Sorry, it just sounded really muffled
very
for a second.
Oh, you sounded like you was underwater.
And I'm in a WhatsApp group with him, and then I send him videos of my golf swing, me putting, and all this jazz. And he'll message me back, tell me what I'm doing wrong, and help me out. He also does like a second-hand golf club thing where if I'm looking for a golf club, I say I'm looking for a tailor-made Sims Max driver, which means fuck all to probably you lot. He would say, yeah, I've just found one, mate.
Driver, that's what you need for VLC to work, isn't
it? He sends you a link to it on Facebook or eBay, and it's actually quite helpful. So from that, I feel like I've gained. And other channels do the similar kind of thing. You get early access and stuff like that. I mean, you're mistaken. It's got OnlyFans Patreon. If you're in the group with him, sending pictures to teach. Fucking, I guess so. My swing is quite shocking sometimes. But anyway, And I Patreon to a few other channels, a few car ones, because I really enjoy their content. It's like, I feel like, because it's regular content, I feel like I'm paying for Amazon Prime or Paramount or Netflix. So to me, I'm quite happy. You know, like Mighty Car Mods. I don't know if you know Mighty Car Mods. They got like X amount of million subscribers. I Patreon to them. But I feel like I get a lot out of it. So I'm happy. What's a couple of quid from me? E-begging. I don't get how you could be e-begging, because you're obviously paying for your lecky and your fucking internet. So all of a sudden you're e-begging, and it makes no sense. And then you've got 10 grand worth of games sitting behind her. I just don't get it, and I haven't got time for it. I've never been someone to follow Top Hat Gaming or Lady Decade. I've heard lots of people say, "Oh yeah, they they do this, they do that." I don't give fucking it. I'm not interested. I'm not interested in those kind of people. You know, I don't see what anyone's gained. All they've done is just talk off Wikipedia or off things like that. I don't understand what.
Yeah, they don't even do that.
They get people
they have
to write
someone
it for
else
them.
do it for them.
Yeah, exactly. So to me, it's a bit mad, really. But it's like there's one of our friends. I'm not going to say who it is. May start a Patreon, and I will gladly give to him because he's a fucking good guy.
Exactly.
Not even because he's a good guy, because
He's doing a good thing.
It's good, and if he would, this person wouldn't accept money as a like a gesture, but something like that, I think it's cool for what they're doing for the community, in my eyes, or for gaming. I'm well up for that.
It's giving something back, isn't it? If someone out there is giving something back to the hobby, to the community,
yeah.
Unfortunately,
you
some
feel
people
like
tar everyone with the same brush, though, don't they? That's
this is the thing. This is why I wanted to bring it up, because I think we're seeing that divide, like what Paul has said, 60-40. You've got 40% of people saying, no, Patreon's bad, it's all bad.
You say that, but to get 14 votes or 15 votes in a row,
wow, yeah,
all within about a 10-minute spell.
Yeah, what are the odds?
The only thing I will say, I will start a Patreon not to be on YouTube. How's that sound? And we'll see how much money I make. No, that's it. That's it for me. So I think the guys are going to have their bit, but for me, I'm happy to do it for certain channels and whatnot, mate.
Right, Lee, go on then. Let's wrap this up.
Well, it's quite simple for me, because if it's the same person that I think Chef was just talking about, in that aspect,
very attractive man.
Oh yeah,
yeah, you should pay him for being on here, shouldn't you? Yeah, no, but if it is the same guy that I think Lee's talking about, then yes, in that aspect, Patreon should be a thing, because again, like you were all saying, you're giving back to the community, and let's be honest, it's going to be a great thing. So in that aspect, I agree with it. However, with the lady dickhead, it's just pure abuse of people's good nature, isn't it? There's no other way of looking at it. I mean, come on, anyone who's seen that video, come on, like,
I've seen better acting on Hollyoaks.
Exactly.
I try to keep an open mind. I really did, and
you can't defend that.
you can't.
No, you can't. I won't buy none of it, and you could tell that whoever was behind the camera, and we know who it was Top Hat Twat or whatever his name is. He's standing here with the
Don't
camera.
mince your words, Lee.
I won't. Don't worry. I never had before. I'm not going to now. You can tell he's egging it on. He's ramping it up, and it's just so false, isn't it? And like you're all saying, they've got all them games sitting behind them. They could have sold them to pay it. The fact that they steal other people's content all the time, so why wouldn't they steal people's money? I don't know. I don't watch them, and I have no intention of ever watching them, because, especially after this, I mean, come on, there's no defense for that. And like you're saying, unfortunately, because of their actions, and there are others that have done it, and I believe Metal Jesus has done it, and he with a flooding of a basement on it. So let's be honest, all the time you got people like that, they're gonna make all the people who are genuine look bad, don't they? So,
well, I mean, genuine. You've got Mark fixes things. Remember,
Mark
his
fixes stuff, yeah.
and that's a genuine guy.
Yeah.
now I gave to that. I gave to that.
I did as well.
Yeah.
But
And that's
that's
because-
genuine. You know, he was devastated. when that
He
happened.
lost everything. He genuinely did. I know Mark. I mean, I've spoke to him a lot in the past.
Me too.
And I know his
Yeah.
collection, if you know what I mean. And what was up in that room of his, he would have
Irreplaceable.
paid for that house many times over. So to have it all be burnt like that.
Yeah. You know, like we're saying, you know, see, there's a good example right there. That was a guy who genuinely needed help. And let's be honest, you know, going back to the lady decade thing, like, you know, I keep saying dickhead now, I can't help it. It's just coming out.
It reminds me of a certain Cy Owen clip.
But,
Me?
you know, going back to that again, this is the thing, isn't it? You know, like, what was going on there was genuine. What you got to remember is that situation they ended up in was their own doing. You know, like Mark Fix's stuff wouldn't have set alight to his own house, but you know, Lady Decade, I will just use someone's photo, and then when we get caught out and get charged for it, the one time out of a million times we stole other people's content, then we're going to kick off in a video, send all our people over to harass him, and make him look like the enemy. At the end of the day, he was doing the right thing. He did some work and he wanted payment for work. That's a genuine thing. Something that really Lady Decade and Top Hat Gaming could take a lesson from. Do some proper work to earn the money, like that guy did. I'll rest my case. I'm done with my rant now.
You know, most of us here, we've all got big collections. We all collect. And at the end of the day, if something in real life is going to cost you a lot of money, you wouldn't hesitate in selling some of this, and you wouldn't even mention it in your video.
You just take a few off the shelf, don't you? Get rid of them and keep your personal life to yourself.
Oh no, my car's gone wrong. What am I going to do? Oh, I'm going to have to flog some of my games to pay for it. You don't go on eBay, on eBegging on YouTube. You know, with some of the bills at the minute, I'd be freaking eBegging every video. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. And he supported my gaming habit by giving me money.
It's greed. It's greed. At the end of the day, they're preying on people that haven't got much money because, let's face it, a lot of people, especially here in the UK, are really struggling at the minute.
Come on, guys. We've all had an electric bill this month, haven't we?
That person to give a £5 donation to them when they don't need it. They've got a second home. They've got a massive collection. They do not need your money to raise £500 for a fine that they've ballsed up on. And this is where some type of control, something's got to happen with that platform. I hope they don't take it down. I hope it doesn't come to that because it's the minority spoiling it for the majority.
Unfortunately, that's how it always goes there.
I would love to know how much they made. It's got to be thousands.
No, we'll never know.
Well, I know
Rob,
for a
have you
fact,
got carry on?
Sorry, I know for a fact that the majority or the whole lot of money that they needed, they got from a channel called The Quartering.
Yeah, he paid the whole lot.
And didn't they complain that they had to, they sent it over as gifted or something like that? Or basically, they were like £5 or £6 down because the fees got took out of it, and she complained about that.
Yeah, because they put it in as services.
That's it. That's the one.
So
I heard they lost a lot of subs, man.
That is all.
Yeah. Rob, what are your thoughts saying? Because we need to wrap this up. We're at 10 past.
Quickly, Patreon is a great thing if it's used correctly. If you're a content creator that makes content that people love and they're happy to support you in making that content, and you use that money to continue helping your audience by providing them with that content, Patreon's excellent. If you want to pay your council tax bill, fuck off. Is basically all I'm going to say. Because I watched their video, I watched their run, and I used to watch Top Hat Gaming Man a lot because his stuff was relatively interesting. I didn't know a lot of stuff about him. I watched a bit of Lady Decade, and to be fair, it seems like she's reading off a cue card a lot, and I couldn't do it. But when she did that rant, mate, I went on a rampage just unsubscribing from all this crap, and there's no need for it. Leave your personal laundry in your own house. YouTube's about you and what you love, not about what you owe people. And I don't mean
they genuinely owed them. That's the thing. It was if they hadn't have owed them anything, and it was like a false claim, you could imagine it. But they genuinely owed them the money. It was his work they used.
But I'm not gonna come and bug you guys because I've crashed my car and I need to put a new bonnet on it. It's just that, isn't it? And like we've all said all along, we all collect games, especially those guys. I mean, if you do watch his stuff, he's got some of the most bonkers machines you've never seen. He could sell one of them straight away and not beg people, like we've said on here, that haven't got enough to pay the bills or haven't got enough to make ends meet, just so they can stick with their lifestyle, man. Rant over, guys. But yeah, Patreon's fantastic. We all know the guy we're going to support. And you'll know you want to support someone when you genuinely watch their content and go, shit, this guy's good. I really want to see more of this. I'm going to help him do that or her do that, and you'll join a Patreon. But
Patreons for the right reasons. That's the thing.
Yeah. It's
no wrong with leaving a tip if you've enjoyed what you've watched. I think
exactly,
definitely.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
End it on a positive. There's some people out there, genuine content creators and people that are for the community that are doing the right things. Yeah. And it's this minority that's spoiling it, and we've got to have a bit of context here in that Patreon isn't what's bad, it's the person behind it and their motives.
All the abuse of the system that it gives you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Guys, as I said, we've gone past now, and I know that Retro Chef's got to get up early in the morning for work. Lee, your son's probably kicking the door down, waiting to go to bed. But this, guys, has been an absolute pleasure. First stream that I've actually done.
Well done, Si.
Yeah, good job.
I managed to,
guys, I'm getting better.
I've managed to not talk over people and just carry on a bit, Paul.
I've just got one question. I'm going to do a football quiz special, but seeing how tonight we spoke so much about 80s and 90s cartoons, how about doing an 80s, 90s cartoons quiz special?
I think somebody's already on the stream.
Someone's excited.
Tell you what, though, why not? How about this? How about Lee actually is the quiz master for that one?
He's going to do the 80s films part 2 for New Year.
Okay.
You obviously weren't watching the other night.
I watched bits of it.
Well, Lee is going to do the 80s quiz special at Christmas. And although we haven't talked about this, and I'm feeling extremely nervous about it, I did ask to do a swap shop. But anyway, what do you fancy? Fancy 80s cartoon quiz?
Yeah, I think
definitely.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Chef's not allowed though, because we'll all lose.
Yeah.
Wait until you see the questions I'll come up with. You never know.
For a fact that Lee's going to be sitting there with like, what's this cartoon? You mean this one, or is it this one, or is it this one?
Yeah, well, the encyclopedia of 80s cartoons.
It's all part of the fun.
So yes, guys, thank you so much, and hopefully I'll play the right outro. I had it ready. I just clicked the wrong one. So, and again, thank you so much for everyone in the comments as well. It's been, I'm sorry I haven't been able to read out your questions, but I've been trying to put them up on the screen as we go along. And it is a hell of a lot different trying to keep up with the chat as it's constantly scrolling down there. You know what I mean? So, people who do live streams all the time, hats off to you.
Yeah.
I don't have a hat. So, yes, guys, thank you so much for... hang on, I'm filling here because I didn't actually get it up.
Oh, whoa, that is definitely going to get me caught, by the way.
There you go. Swap shop clip.
That's good.
Anyway, everyone can say goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.